Okay, welcome everyone to the 61st Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And we're going to start with the promotional video of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, then we'll get into the workshop. Right here then. Okay, hang on. I'll check my settings and see. Thought I had that already set up. Inputs and outputs were incorrect. Okay, let me try to restart that. Okay, let's see what happens here. Restarting the promotional video now.
Where does humanity go from here? What have we tried to do? What if there is more, much more? The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce a new way to bring humanity forward through technology that brings humanity in line with the natural operation of the planet and universe itself. The new science and technology discovered and developed by the nuclear engineer Moran Keshe centers upon the use and control of magnetical gravitational fields. This new body of knowledge opens the road to hundreds of potential applications, which offer solutions to most of the fundamental problems of the world, such as water, food, environmental contamination, and shortages of energy. The Keshe Foundation is proud to unveil the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Nestled amidst the beautiful shores of Bari, Italy, the Institute is poised to become a central hub in the spreading of plasma technology and knowledge. With its state-of-the-art 21st century facilities, the Institute will be able to provide students and staff an immersive way to learn the plasma technology, to be the leaders of the new generation of scientists and plasma engineers. The Keshe Foundation has opened the door to the world for peaceful usage of technology that is independent of the limited resources that are available on Earth. This is an understanding of how everything works together in harmony in our universe, and it applies to everything from the smallest to the biggest, from atoms to galaxies. We all are able to collectively work together in pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and solutions for our society. This learning environment is new to the world, where there will be no test to confirm your understanding. The knowledge of everyone will be respected and allowed to flourish in a nurturing environment. Hands-on testing and experimenting will be widely used in conjunction with roundtable discussions to bring all opinions and knowledge forward. Students will be introduced to a change in the ethos of working in collaboration. Students will experience firsthand how we share knowledge in a free and open manner. Graduating students are expected to share the knowledge they gain from the university within their respective communities and nations. All formal teachings, lectures, and presentations will be in the English language, with technology available for immediate translation. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be offering 3-year executive master programs for undergraduate degree students and 1-year executive master programs for graduate degree students in the following fields: space transportation, new plasma technology, health, agriculture, materials, energy. The health section is designed to make students able to live in space without the need to return to Earth. To this end, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute has found processes for many diseases including ALS, cancer, coma, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will offer online teaching courses which will enable anyone, anywhere around the world to enroll and increase their knowledge and understanding. Students will have the opportunity to direct their work towards commercial spin-offs and seek funding through the help of the Keshe Foundation. The access to the new science and new technologies is openly available for peaceful use to the benefit of mankind to make a better world today. Now you can be part of the changing world and the new knowledge. All commercial spin-offs are intended to be open source and patent-free. This is part of the core ethos of the Keshe Foundation and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will have its official inauguration on April 21st, 2015, with courses commencing soon after on May 4th, 2015. The students of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be the leaders of the future who will make changes in all areas of space technology, science, medicine, agriculture, and energy. Anyone is able to apply, but acceptance is through invitation only. No prerequisites are required. We will be accepting approximately 250 students for the 3-year Executive Master's Program and 120 students for the 1-year Executive Master's Program. We welcome humanity's participation in the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Where does humanity go from here? That is up to you. Apply today.
Okay, that's our Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute promo video, and this is the beginning of the 61st Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. That must be Mr. Keshe coming on a microphone there. Is that Mr. Keshe?
Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Hi there. I'm just announcing the workshop here, and we're going to hopefully hear from someone called John Bliven today of Surl Engineering, who expects to give a presentation to us that could take up to an hour, I'm told. And we still have to, oh, I see he's in here now, so that's good. So we'd like to start the workshop in that manner, Mr. Keshe, if that's okay. And of course, you might have a few things you'd like to say beforehand, so if you want to go ahead now, that would probably be a good idea. We have a couple of other guests too. We have Guy in the wings here, pretty anxious to give his presentation as well. So if there's time, we should be able to, we can do that, as well as show a bit about, we've been trying to develop ping pong ball reactors in the manner you were speaking of yesterday. And our development team here has been a little pressed for time, but we've come up with a couple of things that we're experimenting with. So,
Good. Do you want us to start?
well, yes, if you want to start, or I mean, you can just say something if you want, or we can launch into John Biven's presentation, if that's okay.
I think there are a couple of announcements we need to make before we go, because then we disappear in the world of everything else.
Sure.
First of all, good morning, good day, good afternoon, as usual, whenever and wherever you are listening to these programs. As I have seen in the background, there is interest in an announcement we made early this week and sometime last week in respect to the development of the cancer research of the Keshe Foundation. We know there is a large interest. I have seen on other emails in other sections of the Keshe Foundation people coming back to us who've been or requested to be considered for a cancer and asking if they can be considered second time around, as we could not see a solution at a time for their cases. We have to set a structure that we consider as many cases partial as much as possible. To this effect, we need to, and we will set up groups and individuals and doctors who will vet the applications, and they will decide the cases, not us here. This way is a respect of anything that we might do here, and they decide what they want to see, and what they decide will be a good case to consider. There is a lot of setting up and structural wise of organizing things for June, that these tests can be done, and we need to dispatch systems and materials to the countries where we consider as a center point for these tests. One of these countries will be China. We are preparing the materials to leave for China in the next 2-3 weeks once we completed our sessions here. Sorry. The other point of reference will be the Keshe Foundation Health Center in Malta. Keshe Foundation Center, SSI in Italy, will consider some cases. We most probably start with these 3 stations, and then we go further. I'm talking to Mr. Hoy this afternoon. Good morning. Our American delegation always comes late, doesn't matter which part. It's a long way from United States to here. We appreciate that. You're welcome. Good morning. On the other hand, we try to bring everything together that we can see as many people as possible. The Chinese section with Mr. Hoy will take over the direct testing most probably by early or mid-June once we can position our systems. This is highly advanced technology, never been tested. We did a preliminary test yesterday afternoon here in the Institute, and the test results are very, very strange but very, very powerful. It justifies completion of the system within the next 2 weeks. So once we do the final test in the next couple of weeks, what we have considered is that maybe 1 or 2 weeks of the SSI teaching sessions will be totally dedicated to the cancer research, which means the knowledge seekers online and knowledge seekers here will be directly involved in cases that they can monitor, they can see, and then as we used to do testing in the labs before in the Sensano, that the knowledge seekers could go and make things, now knowledge seekers monitor. So to this effect, we will organize, we'll ask the knowledge seekers which are on the board of the knowledge seekers learning group and here to set up the structures in what they like to do, to participate, to monitor, and to develop the whole structure. The most important thing is that we have the cancer for the coming up June. In June, we most probably release more further information and technology in respect to the energy and other materials. So we look into start making clusters of scientists and knowledge seekers who participate in totality, but they can feed and add to the knowledge of a specialty. So from now on and from next 2-3 weeks, the knowledge seekers here and around the world who have signed in and they are online students, they will become participants in actual monitoring and some cases developing of systems that live on the teaching sessions used and monitored. This is what is a major departure from the past of walking into the lab. Now we do the theoretical plus monitoring the theoretical, and then we'll see how we go and what the interest comes. That if you're a knowledge seeker, for example, in South America, you still participate in understanding the problem if your interest is cancer. You can see the development, you can see and even translate and participate in data and put some of your inputs in how you see data has to be translated. So we start dividing the technology into its sections through its students and knowledge seekers, that in a way, whatever you learn, you will start teaching too. The other point for us is that the teaching center of the Keshe Foundation, most probably for research, will move out of SSI in training. This is 100%. It's just a matter of certain legal positions in the next couple of weeks. And the Keshe Foundation will announce a new research center independent of SSI as the Keshe Foundation itself in Italy. This gives us a possibility to start the spin-offs immediately. I have approved the site, and we are waiting for our team to confirm and our security people approve the move. Then we will have a site with a launching pad for test flights, which you see is imminent. We will have a site where different aspects of the technology, like a water treatment, the environmental cleanup, the health section will get its own floor with 5 different offices for different aspects of the health. And we try to release the position and the place of the research in the coming days. It's already been accepted. We have seen it. We already have moved in partially the backside of the Keshe Foundation into position in past few days. The structure is very simple, is that if you see anything which can help and is practical in development of the technology, we are prepared to finance it. We announced this some months ago before we moved to here, this location, but we have seen huge problems in respect to research in this place. Time limitations and all sorts. For this reason, now we're moving to an independent structure building with huge facilities, which allows us totally different direction of research, very much the way we used to do in the Sensano. Which means the research is free, you can do what you like, but you have to prove that the technology you bring in is feasible in respect to us, to be able to share the knowledge with the rest of humanity. We have, on the other hand, as a number of you know, have entered the 5th stage of the testing in Fukushima directly. Up to now, we had an intermediary group between us and TEPCO and the scientists at Fukushima reactor number 1 site. As of this week, the intermediary still exists, but Keshe Foundation Research and Development side of the support to Fukushima moves directly in line, direct communication and development and testing with scientists in Japan through TEPCO. This is a change which we've been asking for some time, and now has been agreed by the Japanese government that the test results are successful enough that does not require an intermediary, but the intermediary, as they have been, will stay with us. We have full trust in them, and as the results will come from the platforms of the Fukushima reactor number 1 or research center in Fukushima, we will disclose it, and we expect the same from our Japanese partners and TEPCO. In this respect, new materials have been developed. New extraction system, which we knew before, has been added to and has been sent to Tokyo, which starts operation hopefully today or tomorrow. This system, in the last report they did a couple of months ago, they foresaw the use of centrifuge, and with this system we took the centrifuge system out, which allows extraction immediately at any site anywhere. So if we successfully come out of this test with TEPCO, we will release the information that it can be used by other national governments in respect to the contamination. It has to be said, we hold back and we will not disclose anything until and unless TEPCO foreshows release, as we've done before. We do not put the Japanese structure under pressure, but we keep it transparent because we have a second, what I call, target. Our second target in respect to work with TEPCO and the Japanese nation, the Japanese government, is we know, and as a nuclear physicist being in this game for some years, 30, 40 years, that the consequences of the Fukushima, especially reactor 1 explosion with plutonium in its content, has health application and implications for the people around Fukushima. Short-term, long-term cancers and other genetic defects. Once we come to the total agreement with TEPCO and we enter the final phase, the health section of the cancer of the Keshe Foundation will open automatically to the Japanese government and Japanese nation through TEPCO for testing of the cancers through radiation. This is very easy because we know the source, we know the exposure, and we know the materials. So in that case, we accept the responsibility on our behalf to deliver a number of systems into different centers in Japan, in centers of the high cancer risk, to follow up our cancer test, which starts here in June. So not only we back the Japanese government with the extraction system, we support with the elevation of any cancers which we know there is a huge amount of it at the moment due to Fukushima. So we enter a second phase of cooperation with the Japanese authorities. In that case, we expect the same from the Japanese on an open book basis, that the data for the cancers which are now available to be open to us, that we can support. We will teach these Japanese scientists and doctors on the same level that they can support their people internally in Japan without the support from the Keshe Foundation on a full-time basis. We have been told and we have seen correct conduct between our intermediary between Japan and us, and we expect the next phase will be the same. And then, as we said, we expect the return of the materials which are in Fukushima, as we explained in our teachings of this week, as what I call support dividends to be spread amongst the humanity or across the world. So what this means, when we complete the extraction of the tritium becomes an international energy supply condition for the rest of humanity as a payback to the Keshe Foundation for cleaning up. Because this way, all nations will have equal amount of fuel to support their nations according to the structure of the new reactors which come into operation. On the other hand, we will carry on with our work the way it is. If you want to be part of the structure of the Keshe Foundation support team in different aspects, to us, it means you have to know what we do and how we are developing on a daily basis. In that case, if you want to do it, please join the teaching sessions, daily teaching sessions, because we build on the back of our teachings on a daily basis, as we've done in past 2 weeks now, that you understand what we do, what the target is, and what our understanding is, and how and the way we do things. You cannot come in and expect to support just blindly because you've been to some sessions, because the teachings from next weeks or two will become more participation from the students. We gave you an overall picture. We give you a direction of what the knowledge goes and what you can do. In the coming times and weeks, as we've done in the Sensano, the most times will be spent by the knowledge seekers adding to the knowledge in their own way that the others can follow, that they can understand how easy it is to do, that they can follow the same. So please, if you are in any shape or form want to and be part of the Keshe Foundation, you have to, as we say, take the gloves off and get involved, and it's a hand-on work from now on. All the knowledge seekers who have registered or are sitting around the tables here have to become part of the organization, not only learning, teaching, but getting involved in the daily structure of the research in different ways as they suit and as they see and feel good and comfortable with. So we start our research in cancer, hopefully from the first week of June. Then we extend this side to from 3 sections of China, Malta, and here in the center, into hopefully into Japan. And then we collaborate in the structure of the space program and development of the spaceship program in the new site, which to me is absolutely perfect for such a thing. When you look at the structure from outside, it looks like Cape Canaveral with a launching building next to it, but in fact it's a very simple structure. It's beautifully done, and it's so isolated that nobody can spy on us. We can do whatever we like, the way we like. It's not here that we get dictated to. It's underground level that you can do whatever you like in there and enjoy the laboratories, which will be added to the structure in the coming weeks and months, that we can do whatever we like in the open space criteria. We will release the location and everything to the knowledge seekers who are the participants into the structure of the development of the knowledge. Now, something which Rick said, what we would like to see first is the latest technology. Can we see your ping pong balls first before we see something else? This is, what do you call it, off the press, hot from since yesterday afternoon. Are you brave enough to show your balls first? I mean, the ping pong balls?
Well, surely, yeah, I've been playing with them here tonight, so we have to demonstrate.
Will you stop playing with them? Can we have a look?
Yeah, let me see if I can get my webcam to work here. Just a minute.
Let me give you a background to these ping pong balls. This is part of the teachings which has been going on a daily basis. And this goes back to what we said last week in respect to the Coca-Cola bottle and extraction of the deuterium. And then our Chinese colleagues in the Chinese session showed it physically with a nano-coated container with a metal bar going, a metal wire going across it, that they could move it without any mechanical field forces by just adding a body next to it. If you remember the Chinese teaching, if you haven't, you got to go back and have a look. We've been discussing this for a couple of weeks now, and now we have seen it. So what we ask, if we can make a perpetual motion, and we have explained how this motion is related to the motion of the stars, plasmas, and the rest, and how we see motions created in celestial objects. So now, if Vince has time or Rick has time to show his balls, then we see how they create motion on it.
Can you see them on the screen there, Mr. Keshe?
No, I don't see anything. I'm blind.
Should see something on your webinar. Should be up on the webinar screen, I believe.
Oh, yeah. You mean your 3 balls hanging?
Yes, I've got 3 balls, alien, you might say.
Okay, can we see what's going on?
Okay, well, what I've got here is I've had this configuration before with the 3 ping pong balls, and they're driven by a sewing machine motor here, which is plugged into the variac in the back there, which is able to vary the AC voltage to the motor. And there's a drive belt here, which actually powers all 3 of these shafts, which are attached to the 3 reactors. And normally they're in a perfect triangle here, but I've moved this center one up forward to bring it closer to the other 2 reactors. So they're actually very close. I can actually barely get my finger in between them there right now, just for this experiment. So what I did, again I did, was I've been running these reactors before with GANs inside. So they have the GANs rings inside the reactors that you can kind of see with, I don't know if we can actually see too well there.
You've done all this since yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, well actually just mostly tonight in terms of, you can kind of, yeah, you can see the ring in that one, for example, quite easily.
Yeah.
And so what we've done, you can see this ring I've put on here, again I put on, which is just a brass ring at this point, which is on the outside of the plastic ping pong ball. And then of course the GANs ring is on the inside of the ping pong ball. That's one configuration that we were just experimenting with. Now this one over here in the center, it has a copper wire that goes halfway around the sphere, and it has a little nib at the end here, so we actually can take a voltage reading with while it's rotating, and it's also connected up at the top here, which makes it connected to the whole brass shaft. And so that's another type of sort of a magnetic what you call it, paddle almost. Now that properly should be nano-coated, and didn't have time to nano-coat that, although we did experiment briefly with this piece, which is similar to, you can see it in the, similar to what you spoke of in terms of this little piece that can sit inside of a ping pong ball, let's say. And so this is copper, and I put it, it's just plain copper wire. I put it on a red hot burner stove, and was able to get this coating with, it's partially coated. You can see where there's black on it and red. And the black, some of the black is chipped off, and it can be recoated several times to get it to stick. There's places where it's stuck quite well, and it can be burnished, and it doesn't come off very easily at all. It's etched in. So basically heating it up red hot and slowly cooling it is the technique. And that can be done several times to put a nano coating, sort of a quick and dirty nano coating on a piece of copper. But anyways, we get back to this. We've got the center one has the paddle. Now the one on this side has a piece of nano coated wire that's actually similar to, it's actually the same wire that I had connected to this apparatus. That the wire itself is nano coated completely inside the insulation all the way along. So I cut a piece off, and I put that inside of this, goes down inside the insulation. It's insulated all the way down inside to the ping pong ball, where the insulation stops about here, and then the bare nano-coated wire goes inside the sphere and kind of doubles up a little bit in sort of a half curved kind of inside there, and spreads out because this is very fine wire. It's got probably 100 strands or more, and it's it's one of the finest multi-strand copper wire I've seen, especially for speakers and heavy-duty speaker systems. So essentially, these microfiber nanowires are spread out inside of this ping pong ball, and it goes up inside here, and the electrode part, you might say, is at the top there. So there's the nano-coated wire in the center, then there's the plastic insulation, and then there's the brass outside. And the brass is actually more or less attached to the outside of the ping pong ball because it's all connected, whereas the inside nano-coated wire can actually be probed up here. And it's interesting that right off the bat, that when we, can you hold the voltmeter up here? Yeah, right about there is good. Yeah, we're on the, was it 2-volt setting here? It's my minimum on this setup. And when I put the voltage, put the leads on, we get darn close to, in fact, sometimes it's over half a volt, 0.428 millivolts there, and quite often it goes up over 1/2 volt. That's pretty consistent at 0.43 or so. So that's just between this brass outer piece and the polycarbonate and that inner nano-coated wire.
But is your bowl containing GaNs material in it?
Yes, it has water plus GaNs, about maybe 1/3 GaNs and 2/3 water, or something in that ratio.
So the wire, nano-coated wire, sits inside the liquid?
Yes.
This is what we discussed yesterday, if we can do.
Yeah, and the wire sort of went down and missed the GaNs ring, and then goes down to the bottom here and sort of hangs out at the bottom. So it's interesting. Now it rotates with the whole thing. So, Guy, if you can just demonstrate it, how it runs here.
Are your motors running now?
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's quite quiet with the sewing machine motor and just the belt drive. All you hear is the bearings.
Can you measure the current in the last one and the center?
The one here?
So the voltage, just measure the same as you were measuring before.
Well, we can measure the voltage.
Dynamic.
I'm not sure what
you can do it. Can be done.
Yeah. Okay, we're at 0.456, 457, 458 there now. Let me see if I can.
If you can hold it. Okay, no problem. So still stays at 0.45.
It's actually going up right now, slowly.
We can't see the figures. It keeps on changing there. Yeah. Keep it that way. Let it run for a while and then we measure it again. But what is the... The rotation has given consistency and increase in the field. Should be 0.4. So it's going up. Let it run and then we come back to it maybe in halfway in the program. And then we'll see what comes up.
Yeah, interesting.
But the point was that if we can create motion in one ball, and this will be translated to motion in the other ball.
Right, so with the center one having that external wire and the other one having the internal wire, we are hoping for some sort of relationship between them at some point, perhaps when the fields build up, is what I'm thinking. and there's enough slack between the belt drive that if the slippage and they're able to coordinate with each other, I think, to synchronize. If they're close, they'd be able to synchronize. It's enough give and take there, I think.
Do you have another ball which is nano coated inside that you can bring close to the ball and see if it rotates?
See if it rotates. Well,
we need to get a ball in that near there that it's in a nano coated environment that we see if
Does it have to be plastic, Mr. Keshe?
It's got to be in a nano-coated environment.
But can it be a copper nano-coated environment as well?
No, it's the environment we need. It's if you have a Coca-Cola bottle and you hang a piece of wire in it, you will see it. Doesn't need. If you have any old Coca-Cola bottles, you made what do you call it, nano coating or GANs in it. You can just hang a piece of wire in it, normal wire, it should show immediately. With the interaction of the field motion in the center ball.
Did you hear that?
We should see it vibrating.
Like a nano-coated.
Have you got a Coca-Cola somewhere hanging, transparent?
What do we have here that's been nano-coated?
If you want, we can send you one from here.
We've got here our documentation, I suppose. That's somewhat nano-coated.
Do you have anything you have made caustic in, any plastic container?
Yeah, hang on a second.
This is what you call live experience. You get cut off in no time. Hit, go back, we are lost. Go back.
Mr. Keshe, we're here.
We can't see any pictures.
No picture at all. I got the picture.
Oh, I lost it. Oh, I lost pictures in one computer, and the other one is still there.
Okay, so I have, for example, a box like this, and you're suggesting to put a wire inside, a nano-coated wire?
No, normal wire, not nano-coated.
Normal wire.
Has to be normal wire.
Okay, like,
it's the environment of the box. It needs to be a sealed box. Not necessarily. The way you have it, just bend it and put it across it and see if it moves. But it has to be held in the right way in respect to the rotating ball. If you like, I can put a Coca-Cola bottle with a wire in it here. Do we have any Coca-Cola bottles? That GANs in it. Ah, there in the storage.
Something like this, perhaps.
Harman has used it for water. Yeah, not there. You got to come in the middle one. No. You see, it has to be the other way because your ball is rotating in a different direction. No, that's not. It's going to be hanging the other way. If you turn your container, yeah, up. Your container should be vertical than horizontal. Yeah, this way. You need that kind of position in respect to the center one.
Okay.
Then you should see the wire moving if it's nano-coated inside. If not, we'll try to make one here for next week, or we asked our Japanese or Chinese guys to do it. Now put it at 90 degrees in respect to the center ball.
Turn it off. Make this a little bit. So you're saying to bend this up, sort of like
Hang
this?
it in front of it. Let's see if it moves. Just move up a bit higher. Move higher. No, higher that only the box sees the. No, you got to come inside. Go up. Don't hit. No, you're wrong. The box should be facing the ball. The rotation of the wire.
This way.
No, you need the plastic to be the intermediary. Otherwise it doesn't work. Yeah, so I think it's like making a hole in it and hanging a wire that you see it how with a bend in it that it affects rotation. No, you're not getting it right. It's not that way. It's okay. If you get a Coca-Cola bottle, which is nano-coated and hang inside it, you will see it moving.
Right, okay. What do you mean more? Sort of like
if you hang it, no, you're too far from it. You're too far. The box maybe is too big to be close.
yeah, that's one
The
issue.
box is too big to be close. And secondly, if you hold your hand by the box and see if the wire moves, then it shows you if your container is nano-coated or not. Then you can do this. We'll try to make one here. Yeah, our guru says that is the way to test the nano-coating. When you put wire inside, and then you test it with the hand.
Yeah. Yeah, there's many configurations, I guess. It's a little hard to...
no, this is not the right way. Turn it 90 degrees, the back end facing us, and go towards the ball. Yeah, but the ball it doesn't. Yeah, keep it there. Up, up. No, it's going to be up, outside it, not inside it. No, the ball has to be outside. Go up now. Come up, 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 up. Stay there. You're getting touched.
So something like that, but probably closer with...
Yeah, it's too...
And I'd have to support everything, so it's not...
You have to support it. Somebody has to be in line with the ball. I will try to make one here and we'll show it. Because here we have a small motor we can mount it on. We sent to Japan. He went to Japan to stand. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, we can build another one, no problem. Okay, we'll try to do this. We'll try to show it, but it's nice. No, it's too far.
Yeah, it's
okay, we'll try to show it. If you had a Coca-Cola bottle, which is nano-coated inside, it's very easy to show. Because you can hold it, and the speed is too high. Your speed of rotation is far too high for the metal. It needs to be very, very, very slow movement, extremely slow movement.
Something more like that, perhaps.
Yeah. We explain the principle of motion in a matter state in plasma condition and magnetic field stronger than matter state yesterday in the teaching. So We try to add this to it. This is too high. The speed is far too high.
Still too high.
When you test it, if you get a, yeah, something like this, this is perfect. Because then you can see the actual position and the movement. I lost the picture again. Marco, where do I go? Yeah, no. The camera, the site, okay. What's the current?
The voltage is
4.9.
Yeah, about 4.9. Try to keep it in the center here.
4.7, 4.8.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, now what's the next? Thank you very much for your efforts since last night.
We have one other quick thing to demonstrate here, but it's more of a funny thing than anything else. You probably recognize this cup.
Oh yeah, we had them here.
Right, this is the green version of the red ones, basically.
Yeah.
And
Canadian champagne cup.
yeah, and normally
You can't afford plastic, you can't afford crystals, so you're happy with plastic. Yeah.
and you can see the water inside, and normally you freeze it like this, and it becomes your.
We are deprived of picture here. 1 second on this screen only.
Oh.
Okay, you're back again.
Okay, so you can see the water inside that's normally in there, and it's made to freeze this way, so you have your margarita cup and so on. But and you know, we did talk about doing different experiments with it, but we also on our trip home we found in the London airport this this fun looking spear here, and sometimes when I see a spear in a toy store or some thrift store, I just can't resist but to pick it up and often buy it. So that was the case with this one, and so it turns out that it's got this nice feature where it's got a little button, and when you put it together here, where just a second here, it's going to get lined up, I think.
Showing that more, yesterday before we leave the lab, I was with Professor Lutzi, and Armand, just before he leaves for China, he made a spherical ball like this, in a cup like this, and he's left, and the cup is producing water. So we try to add to this in the coming days with someone's got a radio on?
Just a minute. Somebody's trying to go crazy on me here.
So we have repeated again in a very simple way the production of the water from the environment. It's a sweet tasting water. I tasted it yesterday, and so in the coming time, hopefully it's very similar structures what you're showing. We will show the, as we said, the production of water units. This should be completed soon. But
this is our little friend that we found at the airport.
That's where the noise comes from.
So when we put it into the magic cup here, it just wants to fly away on its own. Let her go there, Dee.
You know what to do. If you can keep it going and you can nano-coat the inside and the outside, you might be able to actually collect a lot of water.
Yes, quite possibly.
Okay.
Anyways, it's a little bit annoying to run full time, but it's made to actually, it's out of balance. It's supposed to be out of balance, and it actually jumps off the ground sometimes when it's fully charged up. It's got a hyperdrive actually.
It's green. It makes a lot of funny noise, and it sounds like aliens.
Coming in the top now, dude. Coming in the top now. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's found a resonating place where it's not jumping around as much now.
You see, it's the problem when you leave children alone in the airport in London. They find new toys.
Yeah, and yeah, it's funny, you know. All right. Enough about this nose. Of course, if the button won't shut off, you have to take the thing apart in order to quiet it down.
What's inside it?
It's got this mechanism here with 3 AA batteries and a motor system, and it's got a drive at this end and a drive at that end. And here's the switch, and it's got 3 LED lights that come on as well. And it just sort of sits inside this, and you can actually turn it on and have it whip around if you're brave enough. Or you can flip it around this way, which is interesting. So it's actually a handy-dandy GANs rotator. You could imagine putting this on here and being able to rotate that whole assembly with GANs inside and nano-coat it. Anyway, so another valuable lab item found during the journey. Sometimes it turns itself on too. Anyway, so that's what we have to present for now for today's activities.
Very much. After 24, less than 12 hours or 15 hours, it's not bad.
Well, it's considering I had to sleep.
You haven't slept.
I had to put a few hours of sleep in. I was walking wounded earlier today, so yeah. Wondering if we can hear from John Bliven. Is that possible?
Yeah,
Or would you like to make another comment or anything, Mr. Keshe, or anything you'd like to
No, it's
add?
fantastic. We're trying to add to this on the teaching side, and we'll see how we go, how far we go. As you're all the time with us, the teaching and development is not limited to Thursdays and Tuesdays anymore. It's more or less every day for at least 5 or 6 hours a day. So as we develop every day, we put things online and it'll be shown.
Yep.
Thanks very much.
I hope to get some interesting results with these ping pong balls eventually, and especially when we find ways to actually start measuring the maggrav fields that are given off by these little devices. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Perhaps we can move to John. Is it Bliven or Bliven?
Bliven.
Okay, John Bliven. Your presentation. Are you ready to begin there? Would you like to say a little bit about who you are and?
Yeah, hang on. Let me figure out how to get my presentation back up on the screen.
Okay, we have something on there now. Let me stop my sharing of the webcam. And now we can see your screen better.
Okay.
If you will stop the pictures from here as a side, then we see a full picture. Okay.
Okay, hang on.
And we
So I
see
say
your,
okay to it?
Hang on.
there we go.
Stop sharing. Now we see this.
Application pause. Hang on.
It's just a blank.
Just bear with me so I can kind of get things going here.
Yeah, he's just trying to get the presentation working, so just give
Can
him
you speak a little bit clearer? We can't hear you properly.
Okay.
Thank you. While you're getting ready, maybe we can announce that hopefully next week we'll have an Italian reactor. Today, we're going to see it? Ah, okay, no problem.
Danilo Strafella?
Okay, let's have a look at this and then we go on.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah, spaceship technologies. Have you built a spaceship? Are we flying today?
Kind of. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Could you introduce yourself as Rick asked and give us some background in what you do and how you got to this point?
Okay, my name's John Bliven. I live in Arizona. And I'm a director at Surl Aerospace. I've been involved with them for a while now, kind of helping in the background to try to bring some of the technologies forward. It's kind of been one of my missions in life to help humanity, and this is kind of some of the ways that I've been doing it. I haven't been following the presentations on a daily basis because I have our time zones are very much different. So I follow when I can, and I still want to be able to contribute, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk with you today, to tell you some of the stuff that I know, and I think I have a very important story to tell today. I'd like to ask, if I can, that we kind of hold the questions and we kind of go through the presentation, if that's okay with everybody. I'm more than willing to answer questions at the end, but I want to kind of tie everything together.
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Can you explain to us what you do? I didn't understand.
Okay, I'll get into what Surl, what's going on over at Surl Aerospace. I'm involved in...
Pardon? You're involved with John Surl.
John Surl.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a director over there of the aerospace program, and I'll kind of, as we go through the program, it'll all start to tie together exactly what's going on over there and what I'm doing and everything. Okay?
So you're doing parallel work as we are?
Very much so. With the way I see the Surl technologies is it does in a, I'll call it a matter state what you do in a GaN state or in a plasma state.
And what is your position with them?
I'm a director of the aerospace side of the fence.
Forum or in the company?
I'm sorry?
You are director of?
Surl Aerospace.
Aerospace. Ah, okay. Thanks. So you're a knowledgeable man in this respect.
Yes, and Mr. Keshe, he is an online student for the online teaching as well.
Yes, okay. Thanks very much. We are ready to listen. Thank you very much.
So as I go through this presentation, if we can kind of hold questions unless something burning comes up. I got a couple of short videos I want to share. And at the end, I think things will start to tie together. I think it's a very important story, and if every once in a while Mr. Keshe wants to throw in a few good mornings to keep Armin awake, that'd be good too.
Go ahead. I'll try to keep quiet, which is very difficult.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay, so this is John Surl. He's currently 83 years old. He's now living in San Diego and supporting both the SEG, which I'm going to show you, and the Surl Aerospace arm of the company. His dream is very much similar to what your dream is, Mr. Keshe. He has a dream to support humanity in a big way, bringing technology forward. He's run up against the exact same things that Keshe started running up against, and that is greed. A lot of people wanted to invest, but they had the wrong ideas, and he just wouldn't bring it forward till it was the right time. At the age of 4.5 through the age of 10, he started having dreams, and it wasn't until the age of 14 that he started interpreting these dreams. And these dreams had to do with what he calls the law of squares. And what the law of squares did is it gave him an understanding of the workings of nature and science. Science is always in harmony with nature, and that was Mr. Surl's beginnings. Okay, here's Mr. Surl now with Fernando Morris. Fernando Morris is the president of Surl Aerospace and Surl Magnetics. They have an R&D facility in San Diego. They do a lot of work with magnetics and the technology that Mr. Surl has brought forth. Okay, let me play this little quick video and you'll get an idea of what's going on with oops. Yeah, but, okay, so now I'm oh, I'm sorry. When I did it at home, it worked.
No problem, John. Just give me one moment here and I'll go back to my email and see if I can get those links. I can share them on the...
I think I can do it. Well, I think I can do it like this too. And now I think I got it.
Hello, can you hear us?
All right, I got you.
Yes, Mr.
Can
Keshe,
you hear us?
Yes.
I can hear you. Can you hear the video here?
The capacity to get energy and thus producing pollution to one that's natural, the absorbing of natural energy, compressing it, using it, and then letting it go. You burn nothing in the process. Conventional motors, when you take more and more part, they get warm because obviously there's less electrons and they got more room to buzz around and put more energy, heating up to the point the motor sees up. In this case, as the electrons come out, electrons are being drawn in, so it can't get hot. You've got a constant flow being drawn in. You start the flow moving, it keeps going and going, getting more and more stronger as you speed up. And once electrons start sensing a homing point, they all start heading in the surrounding to that point.
So relatively speaking, it is positive here, negative out here. Here is ionized, the current draws in the back and center, and you have completed the circuit.
This is Amy, just one of an uncountable number of negatively charged electrons seeking a positive destination. She finds the positively charged neodymium core irresistible and enters the Surl converter device, becoming part of an enormous reservoir of electrons. Inside the neodymium, Amy meets Nia, an electron from the neodymium core. These electrons are drawn to the powerful magnetic flux line penetrating the 4 layers in the Surl design. They join together, forming a boson pair, as they spin around the magnetic force, releasing them on their pathway to freedom. As they enter the gate layer, they are compressed, feeling pressure to exit the system. At the same time, they are pulled and accelerated by the magnetic layer. Their energy continues to increase, racing through the emitter layer, joining trillions of other boson pairs that form the eddy current on the surface of plate 1. The boson pair is captured by the roller and blasted into the positively charged neodymium core of the second stage plate, repeating the activity into the third stage of this process. With tremendous energy, Amy and Neo are hurled forcefully into standard coils, where they are collected in the same manner as any generator of electricity. Nothing is created or destroyed. The circuit is complete. As the rollers move, they provoke electrons to migrate through the 4 layers of the plate, from the neodymium core, the heat layer, the magnetic layer, and the emitter or copper layer. This activity repeats through the rollers and the plates. Unlike conventional generators, the electrons will be moving at extremely high velocity. Conventional currents are slow currents, and they build up heat. The more current you draw, the more heat you get. This system is the opposite. The more current you draw, the colder it gets, for this reason. At the quantum level, the electrons are riding the magnetic field, not hitting the lattice of the atoms. The electrons find their path between atoms undisturbed, so they accelerate to higher and higher speeds.
Rare earth has a different function altogether. That's why we call it rare earth. It likes more electrons than other atoms want. It stores them on another band. So if you've got the surplus electrons, they're easy to take off because they want a positive target. It's going to replace that shortage from the surrounding fabric because that point's becoming a bit positive. So it will draw in electrons. It will pull more and more in than you're taking out. So the device will get colder and colder because the electrons are getting more compact. They got far less room to move. It is so cold that the material will change its state. It will become a superconductor.
Okay, that's the SEG. And I want it as part of the.
Can I ask you a question? Because I discussed this with American Naval Marine Division in London some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Surl effect generator creates a levitation, if I'm correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I know this because in 1970-75, the American Navy Central Division tested this, but only led to levitation and not lift. And when I met with the Marine Corps from London, and then I met the same bunch of guys in Seoul discussing Surl. Now I know, I've seen the video because I know the picture of the lift.
Let me tell you
You're talking about levitation on an electron level, and that's why it will not succeed to a total lift because it's limited to a matter level. And I explained this to the scientists in the Marine Corps and the scientists from Pentagon in Seoul when I met them.
Well, let me tell you the whole story here.
Okay, explain. I know this fully. I understand this technology fully. Carry on.
Okay, so what he learned is with the law of squares, the elements tell you what portions based on the volume and space based on supersymmetry. Magnetism, like light, has its own waves from random to coherent. So what he found was that when you put random magnets together, that he found a way to have them become coherent. So this is what the present Surl effect generator, how it's the concept that it's that it's they're planning for it. In the 1950s, John produced these, and what he found when he built them is that they flew away on him. He built them and they took off. Then he learned that he needed to put a dielectric layer in there to regulate the output. And when he did that, then they became effective generators. He built 3 of those domestic units, and he used one of them with his house. And this was back in the 1950s and 60s. In 1980, the power company in his local area in England came and confiscated it from him. This is a picture of what he calls the inverse gravity vehicle. This was the last unit that he built, this last spaceship that he built. It's a 21-foot craft. He built it in Berkshire, England, and he built it in the 1970s. Again, here's a picture from the top. He had these were clear layers of plastic that he put in there. There were actually 40 different spaceships, I'll call them, all various sizes that he built over the time from the 60s to late 70s. These were flown around the world. This particular one, in fact, flew over Edwards Air Force Base. Let me see. Okay, so every one that was built has these 64 struts. And in these struts, he used to run the magnets through these center holes, the 3 layers of magnets, much similar to the SEG. They used to call John the Flying Saucer Man. This is a picture of one of his smaller demos, and this was over in Australia where he did some touring. This was his flyer that he put together. No noise, no pollution, no heat, no vibration, no consumption of Earth's oxygen, no need to carry fuel, no runways, no launch pads. We are tomorrow people, decision makers. Okay, here is another spaceship. This is John out here in the field. This was called Ezekiel. It was a 21-foot craft. He flew it all over New England. He had it radio controlled, and to this day, over in Worcester, England, they still talk about all the sightings of UFOs that they had in the area. Well, it was all John's UFOs that were flying around the countryside. Mr. Surl expects to offer day trips to the moon, and he's serious. And this is, he's saying that he hopes to be there in 1970s. This was in the 60s. This is the Ezekiel aircraft. He was doing a lot of testing, but he was kind of, I want to say, a one-man show with, I'll say, limited support from the outside. He wasn't getting government funding. He wasn't getting any major contributors. He did it on a shoestring. Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and he knew in his heart that he could. And he kept trying and trying and trying and working through things. John, Saucer Man. These 2 articles came out in the 70, 79, 77. And it talks about some of his adventures. Back then, having things show up like this in the newspaper was possible. Today, he probably would be blackballed from any type of communication. Again, here's the craft that they called Ezekiel. Here you can see the landing gear and it's flying. Some of these photographs are very old. Some of them, most of his photographs and pictures were lost in the fire. But this particular aircraft, Ezekiel, flew many test flights around the world, but a lot of them were kind of kept in secret. Again, here's John Surl with Ezekiel. Now, here's where the story almost dies. John was placed in jail for where he had his invention of the SEG stolen. The power companies didn't like the fact that he was running his home with free energy generator. They were afraid that this technology would get out and it would change the dynamics of the world. So they put him in jail, and they stole his generator, and they burned down his house and his shop. And including in the burning down of his house was all of his books, all of his pictures, all of his life's work went up in smoke. In about 3 years ago, Fernando Morris went to England to meet with John and talk with him. This is now in the 2000s, and wanted to bring back the technology. Mr. Surl was getting elderly in age, and at the time Fernando went to see him in England, his health was seriously declining. There's suspicion that he may have been poisoned, and his health was just, he had been forgotten and, I'll say, thrown away, if you will, by society. Fernando helped John bring back his dreams. These are some of the next generation craft that they're putting together now. They're doing a lot of work in figuring out exactly how they're going to put this together. But one of the problems he has is he won't allow, well, it's not a problem, but he won't allow greed to come into the equation. So the type of support he's getting is from people that share the same vision. Here again is some more of the concept designs of what he's hoping to do. You can see here the three rings, three magnetic rings. And he's learned, so the initial design, what he learned was these points on the outside edges were carrying a lot of magnetic energy, negative energy, and they needed to be discharged. So he's solved some of those problems. Okay, so I want to talk, that was the Surl spaceships. I want to talk a little bit about other technologies for spaceship that some of the knowledge seekers might not be aware exist or have existed. I want to run another little video clip if I can. Let's see how I do on this one. Okay, this is based on Otis Carr, and Ralph Ring and Marcia Ring worked with Otis Carr, and they'll kind of explain their story pretty good.
They have been around our community for several decades now, and they're quite the authority on the subject you'll see on the screen. I'm looking forward to their presentation more than anything I can say right now, so I hope you enjoy it. I'll turn the floor over to you.
We'd also like to thank you for taking your time to listen to our story. It's a little different than probably some of the things you've heard. Some of it may seem simple, some of it may seem bizarre, but it's our story, and we tell it like it is. So let's see, we have a brief video that'll zero you in on where we're at and where we've been up to the present, and then we'll take it from there of where what we're doing now and where we're going in the future. So whenever they're ready with the video, I think it's coming up now. This is, I lived in Las Vegas. This is arriving from the a shoot for the Discovery Channel, which is a very... Whoa, hello.
How are you? Dominique.
I'm doing fine. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Las Vegas.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on in. Yeah, sure. Welcome to our home.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking some time. We're really interested to talk to you about these flying saucers that
Well,
have now in the building, but flying from what we hear.
Yes.
Well, we started, at least I started back in the late 50s and early 60s. We've rebuilt, redesigned them for years after that. We want to now turn them into a form of habitation and transportation for people, so that their home will be their transportation as well.
Ralph, by we, who you mean?
Oh, okay. Well, I should fill you on that, I guess. Nikola Tesla was a great inventor and a great humanitarian. Well, Tesla wanted to get into his field, which was free, if you will, energy that comes from the surroundings. He was hired by J.P. Morgan to work with Westinghouse and Edison companies and on the East Coast. And Tesla said, I've got it made. I think we can now transmit electrical power through the Earth, through the ionosphere, without any wires or telephone poles. If you gave a device, like a free energy device, a generator that would service all their needs in their home for free, they could then bring out their creative talents, which they were born with and been suppressed because they had to toil for a living. They could be tremendous artists beyond our dreams, tremendous engineers beyond our dreams. J.P. Morgan was not buying it. He said, no, we're going to have to tear this stuff down. So Tesla kind of pulled back into himself and decided, well, I guess it's not time for this. Well, at that time, he was living in the New Yorker Hotel, actually, in New York. And there was a fellow by the name of Otis Carr who he's going to school, and to supplement his income, he worked as a clerk in this hotel. And Tesla and him became acquainted, and Carr was a sponge. He loved science in every way, shape, or form, but he was a natural science. He believed in the same thing Tesla did, that there's no limits to natural science, and everything should be on a simple level. Tesla said, they're not interested in my time. I want you to take everything I can teach you and go in your time and see if they'll listen to you. And if you don't make it, you're going to have to pass it on, because at the rate we're going, we're on a self-destructive course. Carr said, I will, and he got his own lab started and started really getting into a lot of free energy devices and building them.
So he built a spaceship?
Mm-hmm. He's building small spaceships, and he had different sizes, different models.
So tell us how you met Otis Carr and how you began working with these flying saucers.
There's a company, Advanced Kinetics, in Costa Mesa. That's where we were living, in Costa Mesa, California. And they're looking for a research and development laboratory technician. They gave me a job, they put me in the research lab, and I was inventing ideas all day long. I just loved it, because I like to invent simple ways of doing hard things.
And was Otis Carr working there too?
No. I told some friends about this and what I was doing, and he said, well, come to our group. We've got a group here called Understanding. It was created by a gentleman by the name of Daniel Fry in California. We could talk about things that were unlimited, not limited. I said, my mission is to see that we have habitation and transportation in one vehicle. And he said, well, you sound like a guy that's back east getting in trouble right now. His name is Otis Carr. And he put in a patent for a levitation device, and they wouldn't give him the patent. He said, you got to pull that levitation out and anchor it on the ground, and we'll give you a patent on an amusement device. You cannot use levitation. They brought him out to California. They said, here's your lab. It was all built. It had living quarters. It had machine shops. It had.
That's where you did most of your work, I imagine. This is where you guys worked on the spaceship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How long did it take to develop this crap?
Day and night, 24/7. We were building these small prototypes, and they would range anywhere from 12 inches to 3 feet to 6 feet, to, in size.
And they actually flew. They actually levitated.
Oh yeah.
What was the source of the power?
Well, it was magnetic in nature, and
you were actually building these for people to sit in. I mean, not just models.
these were prototypes just to prove what we wanted, and then graduate up to where human habitation could get on board and operate.
If you could explain to us very simply how this device, how these craft work.
In those days, we had counter-rotating wheels, one going clockwise and another going counterclockwise. Had a capacitor, we had small magnets, and we had what's called a neutron. It was a double tetrahedron. That's 2 ice cream cones put with the open ends together to have a diamond shape. And we had 12 of them around the periphery of the craft. And we had magnets, horseshoe magnets, 12 of those around the craft. So when you started rotating and counter-rotating, as these neutrons went through the field, they would act as a generator and a capacitor in themselves, and they would generate a lot of power, not necessarily electrical power, but vibrational power. When you get to the resonant frequency of your surroundings, it cancels everything out. It goes to a 0 point. And once you reach 0 point, then you can go anywhere you want, and you have your own force field around the craft.
Just a brief pause. This is for a commercial venture, so they put a commercial in this slot, and that's the original tape. So just be 10 seconds.
You control its up and down and left and right movements by how fast it spins or other gyros in there?
Yeah, the ones with the models we had remotes, to operate the models. But when you get up into the larger craft, it's not necessary, because everything then, as Carr was explaining, the difference between the brain and the mind is synergetic. You operate the craft like it was a friend. It's like it was a living thing, because
Connect with the craft.
yes, and that's the only way that our particular craft would work.
It was a mental interface?
Yes.
So it's kind of like the thoughts carry out a vibration as well, and you have to go in harmony with the ship.
So some sort of morphogenic field was created, perhaps, some sort of almost living field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ralph, have you had a chance to fly it yourself?
Flying is an antiquated word when it comes to the type of spaceships that we're operating, because they don't conventionally fly.
Or levitate.
They levitate and they teleport. They move through this thing called time and space. They actually traverse through multi-dimensions.
So you created an artificial gravity field, is it safe to say?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Is this in any way related to the work of John Hutchinson and his anti-gravity experiments?
Well, it's along the same lines. I know John, he's an associate of our group. And as I mentioned before, there's all forms of levitation. But where ours differs from John's is that in order to operate our craft, it takes spirit. It takes a synergy. You have to recognize the craft as an entity of life itself. It has a consciousness, if you will, of its own. What John is doing is wonderful. I'm glad he's discovered a tremendous field of levitation and the composition of metal and molecular structures.
Ralph, can you tell us about your experience as being the co-pilot of one of these discs?
Sure. The next stage up was the 45-foot craft. They'd already designed and built it, and they wanted us to test it. So we got on board, and near the center of the craft was a giant crystal ball in a kind of a gyroscopic holder. Underneath that was a laser that came up through the bottom of this crystal. And as the light came up and dispersed around this crystal, it lit up the crystal from infrared all the way around to ultraviolet. And then Carr said, okay guys, what I want you to do is just clear your brain and use your mind. So this is an experiment. And we're going to go outside and back in through what's known as time and space. And all you have to do is concentrate on what I'm about to tell you. We're going to go down range 10 miles. And that 10 miles downrange is equated to the vibratory rate of the color aquamarine. The colors just kind of dissolved and started turning into this
brilliant aquamarine, and it lit up the whole ship. And then he said, "Okay, that's it, boys. Get out of the craft, and we're going to debriefing." And we looked at each other like, "Oh, I don't think it worked. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything." And we said, "Well, it didn't work, did it?" They said, "Why don't you guys empty your pockets?" And we started pulling out sticks and stones and grass and stuff and putting them on the table. And I know we didn't have those going in. And where in the heck did this come from? And he said, "Well, you remember I told you about the brain has a limited capacity. It cannot believe beyond its jurisdiction. It doesn't want to believe anything beyond that. So you travel with your mind, and it will come back to you, and all these dots will be filled in as your life progresses. You'll remember what you did." It was, in retrospect, I did go back now, and I do remember going and getting out of the craft. There was 3 of us. We walked down this ramp. We got out and we went over to a little hillside. I can see it right now. We picked up rocks and sticks, put it in our pockets, and we got back on board. I remember it now, but I didn't remember it then.
It sounds like this technology is something that we have to be spiritually advanced enough to be able to use it.
And Carr explained that as higher consciousness. He said, you've got to raise the consciousness.
When you were operating this disc, did you notice or were you told that anything changed as far as the structure of the craft?
There's a consistent expansion and contraction. It's almost so instantaneous that it's unnoticeable. And in one of the smaller demonstrations, we had a small model, aluminum model, and I could hear this hum, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful feeling while this thing was running, and I was touching it, and then it got more and more intense, and then I found like it was Jello, and I could put my fingers on it like Jello, and I looked at the other guys, and then I put my fingers inside this aluminum with my hand. I said, this is impossible when I'm doing this, and I put it in and out of the craft. And Carr was over there because he said, you're energy, and that's energy. And when you understand that, and you get a harmonic with energy, you get a balance, you can do anything. There's no limit. So the next day, he had another model, and we put it up, but he was going to accelerate beyond. He said, these retinas are like cameras, are flashing at milliseconds. And when you flash fast enough, things seemingly disappear. So with that in mind, here's our next demonstration. So we fired this one up, and we were all watching it, and I was getting ready to put my hand in it, and the whole thing disappeared right in front of us. He said it's quite simple. Tesla did this all the time in his laboratory, and it's teleported. He said, well, where did it go? He said, well, it might have landed on somebody's dining room table. I don't know. He says, I don't know yet where it went, and I don't know if it'll come back. Maybe it'll show up someday. Maybe it's gone. Maybe it's still there.
But we just don't see it.
He said, we don't see it. And it's out of our dimension. And he explained that the mind, when you tune yourself high enough and you get into the mind space instead of the brain space, instead of logic or instead of reasoning or instead of all those things, you just get up to a sense of knowing. You know who and what you are. That you're a creative, immortal, infinite being. And we all are. And he said, everybody on this planet are gods by comparison, and they don't know it. They're asleep. And until they wake up, this is what our job is. We're making these toys, trying to get them to wake up, to realize there's no limits to what they can do. They don't have to live in servitude. They don't have to live in poverty. They've just been told that by people that unfortunately want to control things. Carr explained to us that the brain that we have operates this water vessel which we live in. But the energy that inhabits the vessel is who and what we are. We are energy. We're not bodies. The energy is all magnetic in nature. It's free in nature. We're swimming in energy. Well, before we could get any further with it, we were invaded, if you will, by people with a piece of paper that said they were at this time closing us down. Paper read that we were attempting to overthrow the monetary system of the United States, and that could be construed as high treason, and we're shutting you down and confiscating all your equipment.
Wait a minute. Didn't John Hutchison say the same thing about the Canadian government? That they confiscated his entire lab at one time?
I stayed in touch with Carr as much as I could, but as soon as I contacted him, I was contacted by somebody. We told you to stay away from even thinking about this.
Well, what did the energy companies do to Carr?
The powers that be, namely the power companies, weren't quite interested in anything that to do with Tesla or Carr. They didn't want this information out. It was even beyond the energy company. It was behind, it came down to, and it can be traced to this day, back to the international banking system out of England. That's where this all started, the monetary system per se.
Because his inventions were so revolutionary, would it upset the whole banking system?
Yes, it would upset everything. They had a very, very earnest effort put forth to eliminate Carr and his inventions and his ideas.
Ralph, do you think you're going to build models again?
We're doing it now. We have pods related to research facilities all over the United States because I'm getting a lot of help, a lot of support. And there's people like me, people more brilliant than me that are involved in it. And we're waiting not for the crafts because they're waiting in the wings. The crafts are ready now, but we're waiting for the consciousness of the people to raise up high enough and to start accepting these gifts that we want to give to them.
Well, hopefully that's changing. And hopefully in time, we'll see people flying around in these crafts.
Absolutely. We're going from the Flintstones to the Jetsons.
Yeah. Ralph, thanks so much for talking to us today.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Extraordinary.
It's been my pleasure.
Okay, so you're starting to see a little bit of a pattern here now. Okay, so in addition to those aircraft that were, or spaceships that were in the 50s, 60s, and going into the 70s, there was also, I don't know how many of you are familiar with what they call the German Bell spacecraft. Right after, towards the end of World War II, Nazi Germany developed their own spacecraft. They called it the Dinosaur Program. And it kind of looked like, well, these are pictures, various pictures or renditions of those aircraft. They were using them for war purposes, and in war purposes, they didn't function the way that they're supposed to. They were very limited. After the war, a lot of those engineers were moved into other countries under Operation Paperclip. Okay, I want to share a couple of clips of this. Of a presentation that was done in Modesto, California in 2014. They called it the Secret Space Program, and what it was a lot of people telling a lot of truths about what's really going on. And what's really going on is much bigger than a lot of people in this world realize. And Richard Dolan here does an excellent presentation. I'm going to pick out the little clips. I'm going to have to kind of, find them here, but I want to see if I can run them through here.
It's a subject that gets no love, but it's significant, and that should tell us something right away. I look at it now as we're in a fence. We're in this little enclosed fence in our little worldview that we're all supposed to believe. But just beyond that fence, there is something else. And in fact, it's not just these other visitors, wherever they are, but there's an infrastructure beyond that fence of ours. It's unacknowledged, and I think it's quite vast. So I want to look into it. It's not just in the atmosphere. It's down here on the ground. It's, I think, below the ground, probably. And I think it exists beyond Earth's orbit. There's something very, very significant going on. Before I get into the really strange stuff here with you today, I'll just put out the obvious remark that a number of other speakers here have already been discussing. And there's really no need for me to go over the same ground that they've been talking with you about, but simply that there are multiple space programs operating in a clandestine manner. I think of it this way. A couple of years ago, there was an announcement that the United States, NASA was going to cease their manned operations in space, and all of this talk about the U.S. kind of shutting down its significant space-based operations and so forth. And that's a lot of nonsense. And it's nonsense because on a logical, practical basis, if the United States military establishment is going to continue to be the dog that has to pee on everyone's tree around the world and has to dominate this world in the way that it is accustomed to, it must dominate space as a theater of operations. No negotiation about that. Space must be under its control. And ipso facto, you must have a powerful presence of domination of space. That's not going to end, not voluntarily, not by them. These multiple programs, I'm going to suggest, are a combination of traditional technologies and revolutionary technologies. And this point was made yesterday by both Mark McCandlish and Michael Stratton, and others as well have been talking about this. So you've got your old-fashioned chemical technology that's still being used in one way or another, and you've got some very, very radical technologies, which I'll talk about. You know, back in olden times, during paperclip, a lot of those German scientists brought over were involved in the creation of what was called the dinosaur program, which was very, very instrumental and had, despite that it was supposedly canceled, left its own legacy and probably a secret space legacy that's been built on top of that. Back in the late 1980s, there was an announcement out of the blue in the New York Times that Vandenberg Air Force Base, which had its own secret cadre of, I believe it was 32 astronauts at the expense of many billions of dollars, that was closed down because it was no longer practical in the aftermath of the Challenger explosion. And if you want to believe that, be my guest. These programs, in other words, they're canceled, quote unquote, after they've been in operation for some time when it's no longer convenient for people to think that these are still going on. But these things happen. We've got a number of instances in which clandestine space programs are hinted at or even acknowledged, and then they go away. Now let's go.
Okay, I'm going to move it forward a little bit. There's more to this discussion. I want to hit the highlights of what he's talking about. You can go back and watch this whole presentation yourself, but I want to hit the highlights because this is an important story, and it'll all tie together. Oops. Hold on, I want to go backwards.
Sorry about that. James Goodall, very well known among some UFO researchers. He was not a UFO guy per se, but he certainly knew a lot about it. Did a lot of work as a journalist with people involved in Groom Lake, Area 51 region, all of that, classified technologies and so forth. Long before the world heard of Bob Lazar, James Goodall was working the same turf. It was his own conclusion. This is back circa 1990, that there were at least 8 black programs flying out of Groom, not counting the B-2, not counting the known classified programs that had come out, but beyond that, including a silent flying triangle. So we're talking, what, 25 years ago or more. One of his guys at Groom, who was there for 12 years, Goodall says, "Do you believe in UFOs?" Guy says, "Absolutely, positively they exist. Can you expand on that?" "No." Guy later said, and this is a quote that I think everyone should know about, "We have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envious." And one of his other sources, this is from 1985 or so, said, "We have things out there that are literally out of this world, better than Star Trek or anything you can see in the movies. Goodall says, can you expand on that? The guy says, no. There's an interesting article I just saw about a week or so ago by a fellow named Harry Howard. I need to check in more into him, but he seems to have been an intelligence officer who briefed the very famous General George S. Brown during Vietnam. Basically, his own analysis, his own take on the subject, that black triangles are an integral part of the secret space fleet. He says, absolutely, obviously exist, and certainly they do. And again, another book that I was fortunate to publish about a year ago by David B. Marler, really the definitive study on flying triangles called Triangular UFOs, an Estimate of the Situation, lays out just how powerful this evidence is for the reality of truly revolutionary triangular UFOs. They don't behave in any way like ordinary aircraft. They're out there. Well, this is Howard's conclusion. Calls them the greatest development in the history of mechanical devices since the invention of the wheel. Well, maybe. It's an interesting analysis, and I think I rather like it. And you can look it up, called Black Triangles, Cornerstone of the USA Space Fleet.
Okay, and then one more last clip I want to pick up.
Is, let's say we're part of that group. We're the scientists. And we come up with our breakthroughs. We've come up with, yes, money makers, better integrated circuits, lasers, fiber optics, and the rest. Those are nice ground floor investment opportunities for sure. But we may come up with something a little bit niftier than that. We may come up with electrogravitics that actually work, something that can give you true gravity reduction. We may come up with a new form of energy, better than petroleum. Of course, we can't let the rest of the world know about that. That's off limits. We wouldn't be allowed to, because our bosses, the private interests that fund our operation, would say, no, 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 can't do that. So what would we do? We would simply classify those technologies, and there are thousands upon thousands of classified patents along these lines in the U.S. And one of the gentlemen in this research field, Thomas Malone, worked at the U.S. Patent Office for years, and he's spoken about this at length. Tom Malone is one of the best experts on electrogravitics out there as well. So you've got a whole series of classified technologies that are off limits to us. And as I say, it holds our future hostage. So if you were smart enough to come up with your own version of electrogravitics, you want to patent it, I think you'd have a hard time getting that thing patented. You'd be running into some classified stuff. And incidentally, this is a key reason why there's now a movement, I'm jumping a little bit ahead of myself, but not too much, but a key reason why there's this global rush right now to solidify a transnational legal structure. Not just NAFTA, not just the transatlantic free trade agreement with Europe, and not just with the TPPA, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. The whole thing's coming into place right now. And one of the key things that they feel that they must do is nail down intellectual property rights, so that if some genius person in India or China or some other place comes up with a nice electrogravitic system, that too says, no, 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 you're going into classified territory, proprietary. That's the whole point. You classify it to keep that fence around us in place for as long as possible and as strongly as possible. But you have to do more than that. This whole system requires a comprehensive approach. It requires control over the media, and I mean total control over the media. Totally, significant total control. So, sure, you can allow, some cable station to put out a UFO documentary that talks a little bit about this. It's best if you get the kind of he said, she said documentary where they put a little bit of one side of out there, and then you bring in a couple of skeptics, and they say, no, that's all nonsense. That's being objective, they like to think. And they'll put a little bit of that out there for the people, because they know people are becoming more and more interested, because we're living in a totally revolutionary era right now.
Okay, so I think you get the picture. Basically, it's the power brokers that feel like they can usurp humanity's future. And it's like anytime there's any type of people trying to move the humanity forward, like Otis Carr, like John Surl, and now with Mr. Keshe and the problems that he was facing, and hopefully is no longer facing, you can see companies like Boeing, Lockheed, Raytheon, Bigelow, they're allowed to go and do anything that they want to build these things. But when it comes to the little man, no way. And the problem is that, you know, we have people in humanity that are being held back because these technologies are not coming forward. And it's not just about spaceship program, it's about the technologies. And our government, the United States government, knows a lot about these technologies, and we need to break through this whole patent thing and open up the umbrella of what really is out there. Because when you know what's really out there, all these problems can be solved. Okay, I want to play this little video. It's kind of a little, maybe it's just me. This is a video and that came out in 2013, December 2013, and it's in Germany. And you make up your mind whether, you know, it's real, fake, hoax, whatever you want to call it. In my mind, I think there's a lot of truth, because the world that we know it is much bigger than we see it. There's no sound to it, so just watch. It's very short. Watch what happens to the cameraman here. This is a slow motion zoomed version. I only play a few minutes so you can kind of get the quick concept of it. Okay, so you get the gist of it. Mr. Keshe has been talking about it. You know, we're not alone in this universe. And it's my belief that we're being helped in ways that many people don't realize. And we're kind of in this this new paradigm where things are gonna change in ways that many of us never believed were possible before. And it's this burning desire to assist humanity that has brought many of us to these teachings. The old way of stopping progress by eliminating scientists will no longer work, because what's being born, and Mr. Keshe has alluded to it a little bit, but it's this internal tech. It's this internal tech that we are creator beings, and Ralph talked about it as well. We're the ones we've been waiting for. This world is going to be a bright future, and it's because of our participation and our help and helping to move things forward. So that's all I have, and I'll open it up for discussions or questions. Can anybody hear me? I hope I didn't lose everybody. Vince, hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to go, if it is, what is important to go over what you've shown. Some of what you've shown is already well known in public, some is less known in public, what has been in the public arena. As somebody, as you say, you are the director of the Surl group, what is your position? Why are you showing this, or are you expecting a collaboration from our side with your side?
No. Okay, so my feeling is that I'm here to help humanity, and whatever way that means. I've supported the Surl group significantly for that role. I've been awarded the director's position within the company. I don't work over there full time. I live in Arizona, and Surl Aerospace is over in San Diego. But I do believe that there's a lot that can be brought out with the technologies that they're working with. Because I believe that the magnetic field and the plasma field go hand in glove. And I think that there's a lot to be brought forward.
You see, one of the problems which has existed up to now in space technology has been separation and not understanding the position and the difference between a matter state and a plasma state.
Mm-hmm.
This we were discussing yesterday here in our teachings. Your systems and any other system we've seen up to now uses magnets. The moment you bring in magnet, you limit your position to matter state. When you bring in a plasma state in the form of the new materials like what we call GANs, you move into the motion and gravitational magnetic field of the full spectrum of the universe. So what you show and what you have, you show the system with the 3 rings. If you know, the Russian Space Agency has moved these rings to the upper section of the same style of crafts, and in the past 6 months they changed it to GANs materials, and this has allowed them to achieve lift control. So what this means is that all the things you've shown, its limitation has come by its fuel or by its structure of the magnet. And if you keep the structure but change the what I call fuel system to a plasma in the dynamic structure, the way we do with the GANs, and now with the release of the D2 fuel as of a couple of days ago, you'll find out you achieve lift unconditionally and in the same position as other entities in the universe use fuel. As you said at the end of your talk, all the cases we listen to is concerned with motion and lift, and some with energy. In the technology which covered by the Spaceship Institute, we cover the total need of man in a space. Be it food, be it energy, be it material, be it health programs. So in a way, an organization like us covers all aspects of the totality of the knowledge of man in respect to advance of man advancing into space. we are prepared to collaborate because our knowledge and our work belongs to you, and I respect you being part of the Knowledge Seekers group. And at the same time, the direction of the collaboration with the foundation is very simple. We do not accept restrictions from no government, and we do not consider any government to be strong enough to overrule the will of the public the way we have taught. What this means, people like the organization, the scientists, even I go back to Tesla with a lot of respect for his work, has stayed in the hand of individuals and individual organizations to financially benefit a few. The way I have structured the Keshe Foundation and the Spaceship Institute, the knowledge and the technology is in the hand of the people, developed by the people on a daily basis, which means no government has control. On the other hand, every person in different sections is adding their own knowledge in health, in food, in space and energy. So if we collaborate with organizations like you, it has to be on the basis that open door, open policy, knowledge shared equally. As we learn, we teach. You have crafts, you have developed craft structures that can be useful for us by placing reactors into it. Instead of us developing it, that gives us a step up. And I welcome such a collaboration. On the other hand, it has to be fully open, transparent. That does not put any government or any individual in danger. So if the CS group wants to collaborate in bringing your units, or we send you the reactors for you to test, it'll be done on an open basis, and we welcome such a cooperation. I don't see the only problem you have with all your work. You have limited your proposition and your work with all other scientists to the matter state, and now we have enough knowledge to move into the next step to use plasma, which is the way the universe works. So if your presentation and proposition is to work, we have always welcome collaborations. If you want to understand the work of the technology, we can do it on an open platform teaching. Then we have a common ground to go further. Then you have to go back to your directors and bring the news back, yes or no.
I appreciate that.
This becomes a collaboration of the public, then governments, and as it's done on a public basis, we keep our ethos of sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
So you as a director of the Surl group, and I as a director of the Keshe Foundation International Organization, we agree if it's okay with you to start an open collaboration. You provide what you have on the structure phases. We bring in our systems development and system control, and we'll merge the two sides together on the space side. Then, as we say, the ball is in your court to play the cricket.
I'm but one player, so I has to go through of course John and the group. So I have to hear what they say. If it's my decision, it's easy. But it's not. If it's my decision. I'm just but a supporter. But I see a lot of I'll say similarities, and I thought long and hard about the nano coating of the magnetic structure to move the magnetic structure into more of a plasmatic structure, because I sense some of the same things you're talking about, is that the direction is probably moving more in the plasma world than the magnetic world.
That depends.
A free energy device cheaper and easier than we could with the Surl technology is what my belief is.
The only thing you bring on the table for us in so many ways, if you have is a structure of the physical systems, like crafts, that it allows us to jump the step. If you have such a thing in your position as you shown there have been or you have, all we need to do is positioning our systems to test flight. That changes the ball game.
I don't want to overstate where we're at. We've done a lot of the virtual reality testing and computer modeling. We have the facility to build and we have the shop to build, but we haven't actually built. I'll say dollar funding is a big issue with us. We're not bringing in, greedy corporations to take over the technology. What we're trying to do is to bring in the right.
I think if you have a simulation and you have the place to do it, before you go any further and add magnetic rings the way you show and it's been used in different designs of the Surl, is to replace those with the plasma reactors, do with the rings, and then test flight.
Yeah.
You bring a part that it takes us time to develop, so it gives us a step up. We can collaborate on open basis, open table, publicly. This way we don't have enemies anymore, we have collaborators, and let the other governments learn from it. I invite you on the table if you want to do it that way, like the teaching sessions we do. You explain to us the shape and the structure of your craft, we explain our way of looking at it, and then if the position is there, I open different channels for you to be able to test flight directly to.
Okay.
This is an open offer, and that's how the collaboration internationally has to be done, beyond the governments, but with the people, amongst the people.
Sounds good to me.
Let me know by tomorrow. We are ready today.
I need to talk to Fernando and John.
Yep, no problem. I don't need to talk to nobody, so I made my decision. The rest is yours.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your. Thank you indeed. You can get in touch through Rick or through Vince, or you have my direct access. They give you to speak online or a Skype if you want to discuss it. But whatever we discuss is an open book. So if you're not afraid to go to the next steps of bringing your dreams to reality, we are prepared to share the technology on an open basis.
Well, thank you very much. That's a big offer, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
I will wait for your response by tomorrow if you can make that fast decision.
Rick, I need to put the video up so that I can share it with him and let him talk.
Okay. You can get my private number from Vince in the background. And then if you want, we can speak to the Surls and the other in your team directly, and then we go to the next step.
Okay.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for your time.
All right.
So what is the next surprise?
Yes, thank you for that presentation, John. We appreciate it. All the knowledge that people have to offer is definitely welcome on the Knowledge Seeker workshops. We understand that some people come here just for Mr. Keshe's knowledge, but that's not the way we have to operate here, and I think that's part of the ethos of the Keshe Foundation, is to bring all the knowledge forward of everybody. And we can see what kind of good that does bring to the foundation and everybody in the world because of these little collaborations that can come from these little knowledgeable people that are working across the world. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that we do welcome all knowledge in the Keshe Foundation. Isn't that right, Mr. Keshe?
We have enough to get ourselves going, but at the same time, As you see, there are people who've been sitting on the wings from different board of directors and scientists who've been too scared to come forward when it was a Keshe Foundation. Now with an institute and teaching and realizing the openness of it, they are turning the what they call the winds and tides of the knowledge of the man, which has been encaged for past centuries through power and finance. We know, as I said to you before, we know White House does not miss most of the Thursday morning teachings. We know the same sits in Kremlin, and we know the same sits in China. World leaders are watching, but waiting for the people to move, that they move with us. And you see slowly the collaboration with organizations, with their own way of working, and governments, is giving us the right channels to share knowledge unconditionally, but at the same time be careful that it doesn't get abused by others, that we create the same chaos as before. As I said in the opening of our works in the last couple of weeks, I have received requests from world ambassadors to be present here in the Knowledge Seekers. We have received a request that some governmental officials would attend the Keshe Foundation Center tomorrow, if it's agreed by the government. Governments are trying to listen, but at the same time they are trying to find a solution for the present mess. So we carry on our way, we don't interfere, we make our lines very clear, and we welcome any kind of collaboration and cooperation. And this, be it from organizations like Surl, being from Japanese government, being through the Chinese organizations and government, and even as we've seen in the past with Iran and the rest. There was something shown in the videos of today that I have to make some most probably references to, and that is, if the government have and been in the position of what you call space technology or spaceship technology up to now, why haven't they shown it? And according to the people I talk to and the people I've been talking to for years, we are missing a part of jigsaw. We have the rest. And a part of jigsaw was understanding of the creation of the gravitational field forces to be in line with the magnetic field forces. And that piece of jigsaw has been put in that is connected through the same materials. So the evolution will come very rapidly. But on the other hand, the resolution of the man's problems will not be so easy. All the time we hear, and we heard in the past hour, is the fear of assassination, imprisoning, burning houses, and all sorts. These are not the fears. People like me live it on a daily basis. We have even been robbed in the past 7 days. The specific targeting, specific attacks on scientists has been part of the week. And I think the world scientists are strong enough to change the course of humanity. So, if a king decides to poison us, if a man of clandestine activities as the head of the European Space Agency sits there to line his pocket with the wealth and the blood of the others, we've seen all this. In the past 10 years, I've seen the full package. Blowing cars up, attacking, arm assassination on the motorway, high-speed chases which nearly put the life of my child in danger, and the criminals have disappeared in the structure of the Belgian police, even though they were arrested by a huge number of police in public under armed protection. We have seen our house being attacked. We have seen people jumping up the roof, trying to do funny things and landing in nettle beds and shouting and howling for their lives. We have seen our exiles from 2 countries of Iran, and we've seen our exiles from Belgium. In fact, This is the pattern that we have to change by sharing open and very openly our knowledge and science. The fear of what they might to do has kept us from doing what we have to do. In having no fear, we achieve one thing. We put the fear of God in their lives, that what they might happen to them or what they've done wrong. And that's enough, good enough for them. I'm not afraid, and as has been seen, my family is not afraid in transferring the knowledge to humanity in a direct way. So if you've seen in 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, different scientists being put in different positions, what I call one of the most intelligent men in the world, Tesla, but indirectly, we all understand the course of the weaknesses of the man, but this time around, as there is an old say, these people have never spat on the wall which spat back on their face. This time, they do it to themselves through the collective cooperation and collaboration of the people. And this is what is putting fear into the governments about the work we do. We are not, Mr. Sears was touched by trying to do energy or lift. We touch every aspect, food, medicine, health. And so our enemies are much, much bigger than the ones they had before. And unfortunately, our friends are bigger than our enemies. And so if you are, and I've seen a number of checking done by our securities in the background, a number of people who sit in the Keshe Foundation teaching, who sit in different forums, are members and directors of the top organizations around the world. I think it's the time to come out and, in a way, link up that collectively we can change the world in a very peaceful way as we have planned and we are doing. In the coming weeks, as we said, we'll confront, in a way, the biggest enemy of the man, irrespective of race, color, religion, and any background of ethos, and that's cancer. If any organization can block us from open research development on the cancer on an international basis, then we know how and where they sit. They have no solution. So this is an alternative space solution. If FDA or any other organization or government tries to confiscate any of our units which will be moved to reach the point of destiny for the people who are there to be cancer helped, we will release the name and addresses of everything which is possible. So we do not expect any opposition from any governmental organization in respect to our cancer research. We have spread it across the world that is not connected to one man. If you cannot be supported by to you or your loved ones to overcome the cancer through the development of new technology, it's your job to go to your president, to your office of your government, and ask, is the right of yours to live and me die because you want to serve your pocket? So we put people with governments and governments with the people. We have a very clear decision, and it is we work amongst the people, with the people, for the people. We are here to serve and not to be served. Where in the office of the governments, the government leaders prepared and want to be served, to be said. So if we give the open hand of work away, the protection of your scientists becomes our responsibility as much as the protection of our people around the world who work to develop it with you is your responsibility to be open, that we can keep this going. Come back. And if you come back, we announce it publicly, so the collaboration between the two groups will be done in public as we start. I have requested the Iranian government for open-handedness of the discussion in respect to the Iranian plasma technology and the space, and in time we will see their collaboration. We do know what to do. We need to tell what we have that we can all do it together. And that's how we will work and we'll carry on working. Now, are we going to see an Italian invention?
Yes.
Yes? No, it has to be done by our people. Wins? Are we going to, what's our next step?
Yeah, that's up to you, Mr. Keshe.
Is this gentleman from Italy is going to show his reactors?
Okay, that's not a problem. We still want to try to get to Guy, if that's possible.
Oh, yeah, we have to have Guy. Guy's been online for a long time.
Yes. So do we have to stop at any point, Mr. Keshe, or can we continue until
after the Italian group we do the Guy ones because he has to do it.
Yes,
he has to do it.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, we do the Italian and then we do Guy's.
Right. Can we work with Marco there to try to get the camera working on the other computer to see the reactors or to see the presentation from the Italian?
I don't know how it's done. He's not here. Is he on the Skype? Your guy, is he there to start? Okay. Okay. He's not here with us. He's about 800 kilometers away.
Oh, okay, Rick.
Just wait. It's going to be set up by, can you call him? He's got to join in.
Yes.
I tell you something. By the time you organize with the guys here to do in the back, can we have Guys that he can cover all the structure?
Rick, how are you looking there? Is there somebody ready?
Somebody? What do you mean somebody?
Yeah, I'm not sure who you're talking about for presenting, Mr. Keshe.
Guy is not ready.
Guy is ready.
Okay, show it till we get the Italians online. We go with the... Is it connected? This should have been done a long time ago. Ready on the background.
Already online. He's in the chat. He's in the webinar.
Can you speak a little bit louder, Rick? We can't hear you.
Okay. It appears that Danilo Strafella is already in the webinar, and
okay, can we go with him?
I've got the pictures, so we could show them.
Okay, go ahead.
What's his name, please?
What's his name? Then hold on, I'll hand it over to Marco.
Yeah, his name is Danilo, and Giovanni will try to translate.
All right. Well, just a second here while I get.
Do you see him in the go-to webinar?
Yeah, Danilo Strafella. I don't hear anything. Rick, can you unmute Danilo?
I'm looking for him in the list right now. I don't see him.
Yeah, he's
they are looking for
from the bottom. I just unmuted him.
Oh, perfect.
And,
on which name he's registered?
Yes, I see it. He's unmuted.
Okay, and I can show the pictures if I can get this lined up here. Yeah, it should be that.
Okay.
Sì, sì. Con che nome sei registrato? Sì. Danilo Strafella was the name.
Yeah, he's registered as Danilo Strafella.
Yeah, he's unmuted.
Yes, he's unmuted, okay. Ready to go, and his first picture is up in the...
He can,
yes, unmuted.
He can start to speak.
We can hear, and his first picture is up in the webinar. Should be.
Yes, it is, Rick.
Prova.
And it's
no?
up in the...
Mi sentite?
Ah, adesso sì, ok, perfetto.
Ecco qua, era un mio errore allora.
Okay, switch on this.
Allora, un momento. Good morning everybody.
Yes, welcome.
Ok,
welcome.
Danilo, possiamo parlare traduco io.
Sì, comunque mi sentite, Giovanni?
Sì, ti sentiamo.
Ok, buongiorno a tutti. Buongiorno a tutti.
Good morning to
Scusate
everybody.
se non parlo ancora l'inglese, mi scuso con tutti quanti. Veramente
You ask
scusate.
sorry because I don't speak English. Tanto noi non parliamo italiano. Siamo in Italia ma non parliamo italiano.
Allora, ascolta Giovanni, vabbè, mi presento un attimino perché con il professor Keshe ho avuto modo di vedermi per un breve momento qualche giorno fa, insomma una settimana, 10 giorni fa.
Sì.
E
Now
comunque
we show now we show the project that present to you the last time that came in Trani. Ok.
Sì, mi chiamo Danilo Strafella, sono un piccolo artigiano.
My name is Danilo Strafella.
Sono un piccolo artigiano e mi occupo della parte, diciamo, di termoidraulica e piccoli impianti elettrici.
His job is plumber. Yes, plumber. It's a plumber. Dimmi.
E niente, come ho avuto modo comunque di mostrare in quel frattempo a Mr. Keshe, ho realizzato un prototipo chiaramente dinamico del reattore. Avendo
He realized a prototype of reactor.
E avendo il problema di non parlare purtroppo l'inglese, faccio tanta fatica a seguirli.
You have a lot of difficulties for listeners because don't speak in English and so have a lot of problems.
E, in un primo momento il reattore, avendolo realizzato, diciamo, tramite quelle poche informazioni che trovavo in rete, sia tradotte in italiano e sia un po' rifacendomi alle immagini che riuscivo, diciamo, a vedere durante il workshop sempre in inglese, sono riuscito solo a realizzare una parte, cioè, la parte meccanica, no? E, quindi ho provato il reattore. Sì, traduci?
He's searching until now the information on internet, so he can build only a mechanical part because don't found other information about what put inside.
In un primo momento?
Yes. Sì, in italiano non le trovate perché in inglese stanno.
Sì, perché in inglese c'è tanta roba, però insomma, come ben sai, poi grazie all'aiuto di mia moglie abbiamo iniziato a tradurre qualcosina, ma è veramente poco, quindi in Italia stiamo indietreggiati, cioè siamo poi indietro nel provare a comprendere poi la teoria molto interessante. Del professor Keshe. Il reattore però io diciamo l'ho fatto nascere sapendo che all'interno ci doveva andare a finire dei gas, dovevano comunque essere immessi dei gas e avendo fatto prima comunque un voto, quelle erano le informazioni che ho avuto, diciamo, come inizio di mano.
In first time this reactor was project for a vacuum or maybe can use with gas, no with guns.
E poi successivamente, grazie a te Giovanni, ti ringrazio pubblicamente, e quando c'è stata la possibilità, come dicevo pochi giorni fa dopo l'inaugurazione della Spaceship Institute, il professor Keshe mi ha spiegato che comunque dovevo cambiare la configurazione interna del reattore, quindi non usare più i gas, ma bensì introdurre il GANS, quindi sì.
When he came in Trani, Mr. Keshe said to him that it's better to put guns inside, change the configuration of e-project before.
Ora non ci sono problemi di tenuta, perché comunque io il sistema l'ho testato non per un periodo prolungato, no? Come si fa, diciamo, con qualsiasi macchina, diciamo. C'è una fase che non dura di certo una settimana, insomma, però io ho fatto un piccolo test settimanale per vedere poi la tenuta del vuoto del sistema in rotazione. Comunque, introducendo il GANS non ci dovrebbero essere problemi, quindi comunque mi sono trovato bene a non modificare nessun parametro per quanto riguarda poi la tenuta di un eventuale fluido o del GANS, insomma. Quindi comunque il sistema è pronto anche a lavorare con all'interno il materiale GANS.
He make a test with the vacuum, and the test was good. Now I think that it's possible to put in guns and go to.
L'unica cosa, niente, io adesso il reattore comunque ce l'ho tutto smontato perché volevo un attimino completare qualche parametro interno dopo i dati che mi sono stati dati ultimamente dal professor Keshe. Parlavamo anche con te, Giovanni, del fatto che il reattore, almeno il prototipo che ho realizzato io, ha il doppio core, cioè ha il core esterno che si può vedere poi nell'immagine che è fatto in acciaio inossidabile, e la parte interna fatta comunque, cioè ha un core in rame, un inner core in rame, e il rivestimento in rame della sfera che poi vedo adesso nelle immagini, penso che sia contemporanea anche a tutti gli altri.
He built a reactor that have a double core, a core that was external with inside copper, and the inner core that was completely in copper. Yes.
Allora, io adesso, già che colgo l'occasione per fare la prima domanda al professor Keshe, capendo un pochino dall'altra volta, no? Quando il sistema è in rotazione, da quello che ho potuto capire, il GANS si predispone, cioè come forma geometrica proprio, si predispone in una forma anellare, è corretto, giusto?
Sì, è giusto.
Quindi io, siccome il sistema è nato per introdurre dei gas, volevo capire se c'è diciamo, un rifornimento continuo del GANS. Mi spiego meglio. Una volta aperto il reattore, facciamo finta che lo riempiamo con tot quantità di GANS. Ecco, io adesso non conosco il rapporto poi, no? Che si deve avere tra il volume della sfera, esterna o interna che sia, a seconda di quale vogliamo analizzare, e la quantità di GANS da inserire in quel determinato volume. Ma tralasciando questi parametri tecnici, devo comunque alimentare il reattore esternamente, cioè anziché inserire gas come è nato il reattore, devo inserire il GANS in una maniera continua o intervallata, o può bastare il GANS inserito all'inizio nel reattore? C'è bisogno di un rifornimento nel tempo di GANS il reattore?
Ok. He asked.
Se vuoi ripeto, Giovanni.
Sì, no, è chiaro. He asked a question. He asked if he put the first time the guns
you know that the guns, when the reactor have a rotation, make a form of the ring. So he asked, is necessary to put other guns other times or in continually form to put guns?
What we think
Do you want this one?
Yeah, that's not okay, what happened? The reason, let me give a background to this design, why we asked or we accepted to go with it this way.
Lasciami spiegare lasciami dare una panoramica di quello che stiamo vedendo.
The reason for this is that the reactor has a copper lining, and what we suggested to him when he came here was that we will coat the inside.
Sì. Praticamente quando sei venuto l'ultima volta qui gli è descritto l'attore, gli hai detto che è coperto internamente di rame, però ti dissi anche che bisognava fare una nanocopertura interna.
And we have already started producing huge amount of guns for this test now.
Lui sta producendo una certa quantità di gas da mettere all'interno del tuo reattore.
Okay. This is the first time we use a composite material, matter, nano, and the guns together in conjunction with vacuum.
Questa è la prima volta che viene utilizzato un reattore che ha diversi componenti, compreso il vuoto, il gas e i nanomateriali.
And if the reactor operates correctly, this system should give energy and lift at the same time.
Se il reattore è assemblato in forma corretta, tutto è giusto, può volare e fornire energia contemporaneamente.
And that's why we accepted this test.
Questo è il motivo per cui hanno accettato questo test.
We have the facilities here to monitor, and this does not need a continuous flow. I was just talking to Marco. We can create a vacuum and literally feed the gas into it and seal it.
Sì, quindi loro si sono organizzati sia per quanto riguarda il vuoto, sia per quanto riguarda il gas e per i controlli da fare durante diciamo, la sperimentazione.
So we expect, if you are correct, it says here with your lost audio connection restored. Okay, so we expect GaNs interaction at a high level. Then we will do a CO2, copper oxide, and CH3, and a new GaNs material which we have developed for this testing.
Sì, quindi loro metteranno perlomeno 3 tipi di gas: CO2, rame, ossido di rame
e un altro gas con vuoto.
Giovanni?
Sì?
Mi
Sì, stanno
senti?
parlando. Sì, sì, ti sento.
Ma scusami.
Marco is
Sì.
younger than me, has a better memory. He's trying to tell me.
Sta parlando con Marco, vabbè. Dove sta parlando di questa cosa.
No, ti volevo chiedere solo, ho sentito bene, c'è oltre il GaNs il vuoto, cioè fare il vuoto al sistema quando c'è il GaNs all'interno, ho capito bene, scusami.
Sì, sì, è una specie di miscela, una cosa nuova.
Sì, ti volevo fare delle domande proprio in merito poi, appena se a finire il professor Keshe.
how is it possible to put the vacuum with the guns?
Oh, we know everything.
Loro sanno tutto. Aspetta.
Don't worry, we know different tricks.
Non ti preoccupare perché loro conoscono diversi trucchi.
There's no problem. There's no problem. The only thing what you got to make sure
La cosa di cui devi essere sicuro
is that you can detach your motors from the system anytime we need. That the motor is not connected to the system.
la cosa di cui devi essere sicuro è che il motore non deve essere connesso al sistema, cioè lo deve lasciare libero.
Ma connesso al sistema libero in che senso? Scusa, la parte meccanica o elettrica? Non comprendo. Cioè le cinghie, in che senso?
System should be connected by belt, not a direct motor derivative.
Ok, yes, praticamente che il reattore deve essere connesso al motore con una cinghia e non con degli ingranaggi.
No, la trazione è con una cinghia dentata, no? Cioè gli ingranaggi ci sono per far muovere la cinghia. Sì.
We just need a gear that we can disengage the motor. We need a system that we can disengage the motor. The rotation of the shaft should be a system that we can disengage. It's like a gearbox that you can put it out.
Praticamente devi fare un tipo di connessione in maniera tale che poi si possa svincolare.
Non c'è problemi, ci ho già pensato,
That's
certo.
not a problem. That's perfect. That's perfect. Because what happened now, we will have a combination of a GANs because, pardon? Translation.
Giovanni, help me.
Sì, frizione.
The clutch. We need like a clutch system that we can release it. He said it's okay. He understood.
Yes, I explained that this one can be
Separated. Yeah, it's no problem. You see, what will happen is that if we can produce enough GANs and create a magnetic gravitational pressure, the internal and external pressures, plasmatic pressures, should create a free rotation on the center core.
Sì, praticamente mettendo una certa quantità di gas, la pressione che si crea nella rotazione, avendo il core interno, crea a different rotation. Una differente rotazione, ecco perché ti serve liberarlo dalla frizione o dagli ingranaggi.
No, la sai professor Keshe, una domanda che l'altra volta mi sono dimenticato di farvela, no? Parlando con Giovanni, non so se ho capito male io o lui, cioè io comunque ho bisogno di inserire, cioè aspirare qualcosa, quello mi chiedevo io comunque, o devo solo immettere gas dagli alberini? Non so se si vedono in qualche immagine gli alberini, no? Che ci sono, che poi servivano per il gas all'interno.
Sì, devi aspirare, vabbè, glielo chiedo, devi aspirare l'acqua e inserire il gas. He asked the question that the same question the last time. He said that he put out from the core something and put inside gas or something else.
We'll do that here. We have everything.
Sì, ha detto sì, devi fare questo, però lo faremo qui, non ti preoccupare.
Ah, ok, perfetto.
Yeah. The only thing you need a connection to M6 pipe. We need, at the end of it, if you want me to send you the picture, or we can send you a piece, that you have to attach a piece, a valve, a 6mm valve connection to either core, that we can feed both ways.
Sì, l'unica cosa che è necessaria è mettere una valvola che lui ti manderà via email, penso, o roba del genere, in maniera tale da poter risolvere questo problema.
We should be able to have a 6 mm pipe connection.
Lui ha bisogno di una connessione con la parte interna di 6 mm.
Looks gorgeous. It's a beautiful thing you've made. It's absolutely
Ci
gorgeous.
hai fatto un bel lavoro.
Thank you. È merito vostro.
We can do a lot with it. We can do a lot with it.
Puoi fare molto con questo.
Ma vedremo, lo faremo insieme sicuramente. L'appuntamento è tra un po', insomma. Come dicevo, vi verrò a trovare, insomma, per completarlo insieme a voi. Vi ringrazio.
You are invited here for a month as long as you bring a pizza every day.
No, Giovanni, ascoltami, mi puoi tradurre questa domanda? Cioè io volevo capire, professor Keshe, devo creare la colonna centrale in questo frattempo finché non faccio un salto lì alla fondazione, giù a Trani, o poi lo faremo insieme?
Tutto quello che tu devi fare, in maniera tale che non c'è nessun problema. I explained to him that you send a photo or project of what he can do from the column.
Connection. Yeah, okay. You already have sent him the picture. You have already sent him the picture or not?
No, I explained.
We need a pipe, 2 holes to be made in central column that we can force in or vacuum liquid as we want.
Sì, loro like a hole. You say,
2 holes, yeah, 2 drill holes, 2
yes.
bore holes.
Ok, lui ha bisogno di un foro centrale che arrivi fino in fondo, in maniera tale da poter aspirare e mettere qualcosa.
Ok, quindi la parte del solenoide lo vedremo insieme, la parte interna, diciamo. Più che altro perché quella era la...
solenoid.
No.
Ha detto no al solenoide.
Ok.
Yeah, we give you the guns instead of solenoid. We put the guns in.
No, noi mettiamo il gas dentro, non serve il solenoide.
Ok, perfetto. No, era solo quello che volevo capire, insomma. Vabbè, allora è pronto. Mancano solo gli interventi da parte del...
When would you be here? Tomorrow or next week?
Quando starai qua? Oggi o la settimana prossima? Domani?
Magari oggi. Ho il problema dei bambini che devono finire la scuola. Penso il 4 e il 5 giugno. Non penso di poter venire prima, perché devo scendere giù in macchina, devo caricare il reattore, roba varia. Non è piccolo, altrimenti verrei col treno.
No problem. Whenever you come, we'll give you the room to do it.
Sì, nella prima settimana di giugno sarò lì al 100%, a meno che non cambiate idea, come sto il Keshe.
That's perfect.
È perfetto, non c'è problema.
Ok, quindi le domande che mi avevo scritto non le faccio più perché...
Make sure you come with your brother-in-law.
Ricordati di venire con chi era?
The brother of his wife.
Mio cognato?
Sì.
Yeah.
Quello delle nano-tecnologie.
You're not allowed here without him.
Ok.
You are not allowed here without him. He's got to come.
Non venire senza di lui.
Allora sono obbligato a farlo venire. È il mio biglietto da visita.
Tell his professors that he's coming for nanotechnology development.
Sì, digli di parlare col professore per quanto riguarda le nanotecnologie, che eravamo rimasti così.
Sì, l'ho chiamato, poi lo devo richiamare perché con gli esami è un po' fuori, insomma, quindi devo tartassarlo, ma sarà il mio biglietto da visita, quindi sarò obbligato a portarlo.
Yeah, okay, no problem. No problem. Thank you very much. We'll see you in June.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
I have to explain that his brother-in-law is doing his master's in the university near here, which is specialized, and his master is in nanotechnology, nano-materials. So we asked for collaboration between us and the university, and Professor Luzzi has a connection with the same university. So it's part of the infrastructure development of connections with other universities for development of science. That's why I said he is invited if he wants to bring his brother-in-law. because he's specialized in nanomaterials and nano layers, and they were here together a couple of weeks ago. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you,
Mr. Keshe. Salve a
thank
tutti.
you. See you in 2 weeks' time. Okay, so we go to Guy. We've been waiting for this presentation for nearly a month. I hope he has perfected the art. I haven't seen it somehow.
Let me switch screens here to...
this will be new to me as much as to all of you. We're going to learn something because Guy thinks we can learn a lot from this for the Spaceship Institute. Are we there, Rick?
Yeah, we're there. I can hear you, no problem.
Yeah, we're waiting.
There we go. Okay, so let me just do the intro here. Guy is ready to present his thing. It's a little jam for time because he needs enough time to lay out his presentation. But we'll do the best we can here, and Guy,
no
ready
hurry.
to go. Yeah, no hurry. But
we'll go as long as it takes, right, Mr. Keshe?
No worry, but we'll just do the best we can, and if it goes over, then we can do 2 parts or whatever we have to do.
Okay, we wait for you.
Okay, so I'm
going to leave the room.
So the sound is all right? You can move in close here to the sound if you can. Move your chair right in so that you can talk. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Rick, did you want to start the presentation? I don't see anything on this side.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't click the magic button there. Sorry about that.
Okay, Rick, start the pictures.
All right. So I've been waiting for this for quite some time. I was trying to get to Mr. Keshe since about a month now. I've been I've been in Italy. I'm by the way, my name is Guy Theriault. I've been following Mr. Keshe since many years, and been helping here with Rick because I live quite nearby. Since the beginning of the workshops, actually, I've been following basically from the beginning. I'm not much of a scientist myself. I always consider myself more of a philosopher and a spiritual person. But I discovered some 20 years ago that to be spiritual, to have a beautiful heart, and not having much of a mind is lacking. So basically, I call that my 2 mountains. I'm trying to be pure of heart and try to gather the best science I can find. But my requirement was something that I didn't see then 20 years ago, was, to follow somebody that could represent for me ultimate science, or I would say outstanding science, but very fundamentally was the humanity behind it. And it's kind of a privilege to be able to share this platform right now with you guys. I think I got the audience of some of the greatest men of my generation. I think you guys are outstanding in knowledge and spirituality, actually, the very 2 things that I revere the most. So this actually maybe said it a little bit as for my involvement here. I kind of I've been a space enthusiast since I'm a kid. Actually, I was 5 years old in 1969 when they landed on the moon, and of course I had tears in my eyes. I wanted to be up there, and it always kind of attracted me. But odd enough, when they asked me at 5 years old what I wanted to become, my answer was I wanted to become a priest. And I know it sounds a bit weird, but I was actually really touched by the story of Jesus when I was young. And I cried very hard when they crucified the guy. So I kind of, I couldn't believe that the world was so mean. And I basically understood his message very clearly, you know, about love. And to me, I was a gentle little boy that actually understood very clearly the message somehow. And that actually drove me to, you know, a spiritual life. But I got few experiences that happened in my past that actually I need to share maybe here. It's not that I want to focus too much on myself. I think I got, you know, the real goal of this discussion is I think 20 years ago, I discovered something that basically puts science into spirituality. And I need to explain myself a bit with this, but and I will go further and you guys are going to understand what I mean by that. But I never thought, you know, I've been following Mr. Keshe for some years. I read the books and everything. I kind of, to me, it's kind of climbing the mountain of the mind. And what I kind of came to understand more I listened to these workshops is that there's actually a, you know, a fundamental understanding of the infinite loop. And basically, 20 years ago, what I discovered is it's something about an infinite loop. That and that's I didn't really believe that it was my part to bring this to Keshe Foundation. But what's coming now? It's almost like calling me. It's the coincidences are too big, and for some years I've been trying to figure out a way of communicating this. I've been giving that presentation over 1,000 times to maybe 1 or 2 person at a time. I never did such a amazing audience with such great minds. It's kind of it put me on the spot. I tried to prepare my presentation very well. That's why I think it'll take maybe a little longer. But what I would like to bring is basically my share of an experience that happened 20 years ago, where the infinity loop and maybe the 3 levels, or I could call the 3 dimensions, or Mr. Keshe called it matter, transition, and principle matter. So basically there's that tree that kind of float, and since my, you know, one of my very first love is spirituality. In spirituality, we got something in very deep, deep secrets that has been kept for thousands of years that actually is very much linked to a trinity. And a trinity that makes one. And I find it quite incredible that when you look, and basically here I'm talking about religion in itself. It's not only the Christian point of view, like I'm coming from. I think Buddha had a Trikaya too, the 3 jewels of Buddha. And so as so many other religion and philosophies out there actually that has that trinity in it. And to me, it puzzled me because it's kind of it's one of the deepest secret of spirituality. But in the same time, in science, we turn in science, and it's the very first fundamental thing we learn is the 3 dimension of this reality that makes one. And I've always been puzzled if, are they the scientists talking about the same thing that the spiritual people are talking, but putting it in 2 different ways? Maybe 2 different ways of looking at this one reality that we kind of, you know, we all been called from. So anyway, this is my line of reasoning here. It's kind of 20 years ago, I stumbled after a very profound spiritual experience that was linked to the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I don't know if you guys ever heard about those books, but I was trying a little experiment in there, and something quite incredible happened. And basically, my story is that I bounced of joy for 3-4 months. It was incredible. I was really surprised that an old book could reveal something like this. And basically, there's a bit of history behind this too. So I'm a non-conventional person for most, because I'm not necessarily stuck into one religion. I've been studying many different religions, and I think they got lots in common. And my goal here tonight would be more to inspire to find a common ground for all these religions. And it's a little more about just finding a common ground for religion. It's if we intend to go into space, I think we're gonna have to, if we meet any civilization, we're gonna have to behave. We're gonna have to have fundamental rules of morality and science, and I believe we're gonna have to to be pure of heart if we want to explore and open up to the universe. So maybe my little share here, it's maybe I can put some perspective in what I consider to be the Trinity. And you guys may have heard about it. You know, I can come up with the perspective of the Christian, the Bible. In the Bible, there's many different trinities. Here I'm specifically talking about one in the book of Corinthians. It's called 1 Corinthians 13:13. And it says this, it says, and now these three remains, hope, faith, and love. But the greatest is love. And I truly agree. To me, the greatest is love. But I got a certain understanding about that Trinity that I can actually apply raw logic. And this is where I'm getting at slowly here, is to bring an infinity loop and embedding in it my Trinity and see what comes out of it. And actually, I did that 20 years ago, and I think I discovered an ancient mystery. And this is why I think I got kind of a cool story. It's could be sometime lengthy, because I've been talking about that to many people, and it really sparks conversations. And I can basically demonstrate my point very clearly too. It's not something that I invent, really. It's something that's been carried out. That knowledge has been carried out for thousands of years, and I can bring tons of reference that would just basically prove what I'm talking about. But you know, for tonight, I kind of brought, or let's say since the last month, I had lots of reference, but I might not have all the time to tell about them. But there's a lot of indication that in the past there seems to have been a secret that was very much linked with a Trinity that makes one. And to me, my challenge and maybe my input towards Keshe would be to see that maybe we can decipher how that body, mind, and soul, you know, behave, and maybe there's its own law there. That's what I would like to apply, like the Trinity as its own law, and to explain, you know, the best I can, what I think that all religion and philosophy try to talk about. It's we try to make some sort of a story short here. Is you're a very good expression of this, Mr. Keshe, because I see it as a teacher is basically the greatest expression of love in action. And you yourself, you've been giving me a lot of teaching since a few years now. I've been following you very avidly, and you know, I read the 3 books, and to tell you the truth, I really understood little, But I didn't give up. I thought it's my mountain. I need to climb that mountain, and I kind of believe that eventually I just have to keep digging, and eventually something is gonna emerge, you know. And that's where it's at that time basically that I just met Rick, and Rick has been a great help, actually, a soul helper to me, and a mechanical engineer. So basically, Rick is very knowledgeable about very many different things, and it was more than a coincidence that I met him. I think it's a life story at this point. I'm living, I got to say, guys, I'm living the greatest adventure in my life at the moment right now. I think you guys are all my heroes, and I'm not much of a physicist, chemist, but I've always been very attracted. I read many books about Tesla, and I'm a self-taught person, so basically I read a lot in my life. And I read a lot about scientific paper, even though I didn't understand them. Eventually, over time, you kind of build up some reasoning and understanding. And but I didn't really believe in myself. It's basically with the support of guys like Rick and Vince and Shandor, and you know, I would name a whole pile behind that are all there behind me. Basically, I feel like I'm the luckiest guy on earth. I don't have that quality of scientific mind that I would really enjoy discussing all these concepts with most of you. But I'm learning. I'm right behind, and I'm trying to, you know, to really understand the magravs and GAN's material and nano coating and the implication of it. And to me, that's what blew my mind. Just the fact that we can create water, what it can mean for Africa or the deserts on Earth. You know, we got problem with CO2. Now we got a CO2 extracting kit that we're producing that is quite extraordinary. To me, there's so much potential and beauty out of that science that you're giving us, Mr. Keshe, that you basically respond to very much of my wish of what could be a great teacher. So that's why I'm following. And recently, I've been reading book 1 again. And then I understood that, oh my goodness, I know I'm starting to understand few things. And it's with respect that I say, you know, thank you again. Just I'm learning slow. I'm a slow learner, but I heard you saying, Mr. Keshe, that in Italy that we got between 2 or 30 years. So it may take me 30 years, but I'll get there eventually. I just want to grasp that new science and really, if I can too, travel in space. This has been a dream. Okay, that basically explains it right here. Well, how much time now do I have?
I don't know. Are we going to end as normal, Mr. Keshe? Well, normal would be another 8 minutes, let's say.
Or I kind of make a second part to this, because basically the explanation, usually the shortest one I ever done before, I did it to Mother Teresa. This is of all people. I've been visiting India, and I went to see the Buddhists too, and discussed about all these subjects. And the shortest I could have done at that time was 45 minutes. And today I probably can do it in slightly less time. It would be rushing it though, and there's a lot of quotes that I got behind too, as for history and perspective.
Let's just see what Mr. Keshe has for time, Guy. Mr. Keshe, how are you doing for time?
We are okay here. We have no problem. It's just that we got a 1 o'clock, what they call it, deadline for a meeting.
So in and give us how long?
You have to have a lunch hour as well, correct? Or lunchtime.
No problem. We can go ahead. It depends how, or if you want to put it at the beginning of next workshop.
It's up to you, Guy. It's up to you, and then you can launch right into your presentation.
Just a presentation.
Yes.
Then I'll do only my presentation, but I give a pretty good background of where I come from and my perspective here. So I figured that it could be a good introduction, and next time.
If we allocate the first hour of next presentation, next workshop, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah,
the next workshop this afternoon. Are you talking about the next Wednesday? Like
I think this is something good for everyone to look, not just to be for the knowledge seekers. If we can do it on next Thursday morning.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, surely.
Absolutely.
It'll be the best. No shows, because no more talk.
And can I just show you something else, Mr. Keshe? Maybe that can spark maybe a response from you. Dawn spacecraft has been approaching that planet there, Ceres, and they release new pictures of those mysterious lights on it. Do you see that on the screen at the moment? That is not supposed to.
Yeah.
No, this is a JPEG.
Oh, it's a JPEG.
We see a moon.
Yeah, but usually this one is it's a file that usually you would see it. You would see the moon spinning, and Rick doesn't have the proper program for it. But basically, they are showing those two bright lights in one crater, and it's certainly bright in darkness as well as it is towards the sun, but towards the spacecraft. But now the second dot is multi-dots. Basically, there's a lot of little tiny dots. It looks almost like a space
It's
port.
a city, I think. People are living in there.
It does look that way.
What would
you
be
know,
your...
years and years ago, it goes back to time of after communist time. I was flown by my friends in the Russian territory, and they told me, what do you see from the top? I couldn't see anything except few lines, I mean, normal road lines. And then later on, I was taken to be seen one of the most beautiful cities under the ground. And above there was nothing. It was just it's amazing where it's a research center. And it's puzzling to see what to you is just a light can mean have a lot of meaning underneath, a lot of intelligence living in it. There we saw no lights and we saw no trees, and it was just outlines. So you don't know what is within these lights. Maybe there is a lot of intelligence, or is the interaction of fields inside of the matter.
Yeah, I think Vince tried to play the video there. We're trying to get it to come up, but it's
coming up there.
It didn't. Oh, it did play.
Yeah,
Okay, it just didn't play in my screen. It's playing on the live stream.
Yeah, I showed my screen,
All right,
so there you have it played in live stream. So yes, Rick, could you just put up a picture for me, please?
We don't see anything. We lost all our pictures with you lot. We just see Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
Rick will be starting a picture here.
Just trying to get the right picture. Here we go. Okay, well, we can set Guy up for the next workshop then, and that's not a problem. That's good to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And that'll give you enough time to get something for lunch before your 1 o'clock appointment there.
Yeah, it's a combination of teaching and doing a lot of work in the background at the moment, but there is something which, before we close, we need a huge support amongst the knowledge seekers, people who are or listen, or people who have been around the foundation, in organization and control of data and programs for different developments which we are launching and we are about to release. We need people who can monitor the health section. We need doctors who can monitor the conditions. We need people who can monitor the data from the laboratories in respect to lift and motion and all sorts of things, because in the coming weeks we will open a number of laboratories which will be running 24 hours a day, and we need people who can organize themselves to monitor the data, because every day changes, every hour changes. And at the same time, we need to organize ourselves in respect to what is about to be released on the space technology. So if you have time and you can be part of these groups of monitoring as a knowledge seekers or as people outside who's been around the foundation, it will be appreciated by all the people around the foundation, that we can spread the load. At the same time, we can decipher and release correct information in public. One of the biggest problems we will face in the coming time is the cancer research. Once we show the results, there will be a huge flood in all directions of trying to understand more of it. We will release all the details public, but we need a lot of public support as part of the Keshe Foundation supporters to accept, as we say, a corner of the pressure or work that we can collectively spread the knowledge with all of us. Thank you very much for your time. I will see you in the afternoon session. We can discuss what you like in the workshop this afternoon with the knowledge seekers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
I think we've had a lot of good sharing today, so thanks everybody for coming out and sharing what you have. We did ask last time to have people come out and share, and we definitely got a lot more sharing this week than last week. So even though knowledge is brought out every single week, it's glad to see everybody participating.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now. And so ends the 61st Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again, thank you everybody for attending.